For over 100 years they've been playing football inside this famous old ground. But this summer the stadium is set for a multi-million-pound facelift. So for the last time inside Windsor Park as we know it, this coveted trophy will be presented. The Irish Cup final is undoubtedly the showpiece occasion of the local game. And down through the years there have been plenty of memorable moments in here.
Get there through, and that's 2-1. Here's Clarke. 2-0. Gilzina's in the middle. Gilzina arriving. 1-0. No. Cadell. Oh, what a finish! Tim McCann is off the ball. Will Tony Bell fix it? Yes. What about that?
Well, 1979 was the last time that Cliftonville fans saw their team win the Irish Cup. Glentoran supporters watched their side lift the trophy back in 2004. But in the 133-year history of this competition, which is the fourth oldest knockout football cup in the world, unbelievably, today's two cup final clubs have never met. And there will be a full house at Windsor Park this afternoon to see which team will be celebrating Irish Cup success. Welcome to Windsor for live coverage of this year's Irish Cup final. Always a special day in the Northern Ireland sporting calendar. And this one has the makings of a fantastic occasion. It is a sellout and kick-off is about half an hour away. Between now and 2:30 I'll bring you all the big game build-up in the company of the Northern Ireland manager Michael O'Neill and the Crusaders manager Stephen Baxter. Great to have you both with us this afternoon. Michael, how much are you looking forward to this big cup final today?
Very much. You know, it's a big occasion obviously, but with Cliftonville the chance to do the treble, a huge moment in their history for their players. Glentoran off the back of a very difficult season, you know, to get to a cup final is a great achievement, and if they can win it here today, obviously it takes away a lot of the disappointments and the difficulties they've had this year. So it's set up for a good game, and I think we'll get that today.
A lot of hype, Stephen, about this final. Could this be a real cup classic this afternoon?
Well, I think so. You've got two teams who want to pass the ball. Glentoran have impressed me this year, even though they've had a lot of difficulties off the park. But on the park, they certainly pass it well and they work it well through the midfield. And they're looking for a ball over the top for Andy Waterworth, who's got electric pace and can score you a match-winning goal. But listen, this Cliftonville team are the best team that I've seen in the Irish League for 15 years. They're exceptional. Their quality up front is going to be hot to handle today. So I'm really looking forward to see if Jaimie McGovern and Jimmy Callacher can cope with Boyce and Gormley. That's the big pairing today. Well,
the teams are here. Glentoran arrive at Windsor Park this afternoon looking for their 21st cup final win. It's been a troubled season for the club, as Michael says, off the pitch. They struggled to pay wages to players and staff because of those serious cash flow problems, but they're determined to put all that behind them today, despite being the underdogs.
Here.
Already they're league champions, League Cup winners, and they're now gunning for what would be a famous treble today. And the Reds are red hot favourites for Irish Cup success this afternoon. Well, let's go to Mark Sidebottom and speak to some very interested spectators today.
Thanks, Stephen. I've assembled a little rogues gallery here. There's Mickey Donnelly, 18 years of Red now youth coach. Chris Walker, 13 years with the Glens and Hotfoot from his job force. Tim McCann, 11 years with Cliftonville and 14 including coaching with Glentoran. We got to start with this man, James Knowles. James, right up until the last minute you were hoping for some form of reprieve because of course your contract at Cliftonville has expired. You were hoping you could play today, but not to be.
Yeah, of course it's not to be. I heard recently that my contract had expired and it was up, and when I first found out I was a bit gutted really, and it's a big occasion for the fans and the players, and it didn't really sink in at the time, but when I came here today it's just sunk in with all the fans singing and the players starting to warm up. It's just a bit gutting really.
We appreciate you joining us because we know it's hard for you, and we hope that you can enjoy the game. Tim McCann, foot in both camps. Looking through the Glentoran team, any surprises there for you?
It looks like a pretty compact. It looks like they're going to try and stop the supply through to the two front men, who are obviously very, very important to Cliftonville. You know, as I said, it's a very, very tight midfield. and I think Glentoran will try and hit them on the break with the pace of Waterworth and Carson.
I'll ask you for a prediction in a second. In the meantime, we were arguing there, Chris, over whether he's actually a Cliftonville or a Glentoran fan. I know Mickey has an opinion on that, but you'll welcome him here today. We welcome you because we know you've just come from work, but a big day for Glentoran, given the year that you've had.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been well documented how bad a season the Glens have had behind the scenes, you know, but I think today, hopefully the lads can show their steel and their mettle and maybe come away with a result.
13 years in Glen, what a day for Colin Nixon. We know that he doesn't start, and as a result Elliot Morris takes over the captaincy, but you would expect him to feature at some point.
Yeah, definitely expect him to feature. I mean, Colin sort of came into the first team the same time as I did, and I've known him a long time, and he's a big hero at Glentoran, and hopefully he gets a chance to show today the supporters how much support he has for the club as well.
Mickey, it's blustery. Do you expect the breeze, the stiff breeze down here, to have an impact on the game?
Mark, I hope not. I mean, the sun comes out there, it should be a good day. I don't think a wind will have any real effect on the game, to be honest. If the two teams play the way they're capable of playing, I don't see the wind playing a factor in the game at all. Any concerns from your point of view about Joe Gormley? Hasn't played, of course, since the Linfield game, and obviously was a fitness issue. No, I think Joe's was kind of a wee bit of a knock, and Tommy just rested him. Joe's a young lad, a lot of time for him, and no, I think Joel, his fitness will bring him through in the day. Yep. And Tim McCann, is he a Red or is he a Glen? Personally, I think Tim's a Glen's man. You said at the start of the programme, I've been there 18 years. I'm a coach. I'm also a supporter of the club. The club means a lot to me at heart, and I know it does to Timmy, but if he puts his cards on the table, I think he is a Glen's man. He's not a Red man. We were hoping for predictions, Stephen. All they're saying is that they hope football's a winner today, and I suspect that will be the case. It's back to you.
Well, as you've been saying, today will be an emotional one for Glentoran's longest serving player, Colin Nixon, who plays his last game for the club. The 34-year-old made his debut back in 1995 and has made a record 793 appearances, scoring 87 goals. And this is his swan song.
When I was running out of time, I turned it into a dream.
To get a guard honour at the start of the match was something that lived with me, and I was delighted just to get on the pitch for the last time. I like to think I've given this club me all over the years. You know, I'm very thankful for the time I had here and the career I've had here. It's been a constant in my life for over 20 years, and I'll always hold a special place in my heart.
You make it all go away.
The problems it's had over the last few years have been well documented, and I hope that, you know, it gets things resolved and pushes forward and becomes a great club that it is. If you had asked us probably around November, December time, would we be in the Irish Cup final, I think a few of us would have believed it. To the players that I played with all season, they deserve this cup final, they deserve this success, and I hope they reach out and grab it, because they definitely have deserved the chance for silverware for what they've been through and how well they've handled themselves, and I just hope we can pull it off.
They'll hang your heart in the sky.
This group of players has been about fighting all season. They've fought back in cup runs, they've fought back in leagues, they've fought back in wage issues, and they've stuck together to a man, and obviously we're going into the final as slight underdogs, and rightly so. Cliftonville have performed brilliantly all season. Tommy Breslin has them well drilled, and they play attractive football and they're a good side, so we know it's a mammoth task. There's been some fantastic players that have played for Glentoran. Some fantastic players probably didn't win the medals I had. I was just lucky at the time I had, and I'm very thankful for it. Would I trade any medals for Saturday? I couldn't answer that. I mean, every medal's special. I could be greedy and want another medal on Saturday. We can only put our own house in order, and Glentoran needs to win this trophy. It needs to be back on top, and it needs an Irish Cup success. I'll certainly be doing my all to make sure the silverware comes back to Glentoran, and it would be a nice and fitting way to end my Glentoran career.
Well, Colin Nixon is on the bench this afternoon, and Stephen Baxter, plenty of experience in that Glens lineup today.
Yeah, I think so. We were just chatting off air, just at some of the experiences in there. You know, Young Hill, Sean Ward. Waterworth, they're all sort of lads who have now been about the game for quite some time. McAlorum's been about as well. So they've got lots of experience, they've got lots of quality. Howland and Richard Clarke, for me, are two exceptional, talented footballers, and they'll be trying to pull the strings here today. So Eddie will have them well drilled. They play very nice football.
Yeah, I mean, you'd imagine this afternoon that Glentoran are going to do quite a lot of defending, with the Cliftonville up front attack being so to the fore this season.
Yeah, as Stephen touched on earlier, they'll have to deal with the two boys. Boyce and Gormley up front are a handful. They've already, Stephen saw that firsthand in the earlier cup final here this year, where the two of them were fantastic that day. So yeah, that pair and the centre back pair and having to deal with them be a huge issue in the game. I think Glentoran come into the game, but with not an awful lot to lose. They're coming off the back of a disappointing season for them, a troubled season, and this may just be what they need, to be honest, and come with that mindset. And the day might just suit them a little bit better. All the pressure, I feel, is obviously on Cliftonville, the opportunity to make history, so it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that.
Okay, thank you. It's been a frustrating season for Cliftonville's captain. Chris Cannell has hardly kicked a ball. He's managed just 45 minutes of football after snapping his Achilles tendon at the start of the season, but he's still very much the heartbeat of the club.
On a personal level, it's been difficult. Obviously, I've known quite early it was a serious injury and that I'll be out for quite some time. It's just really about gearing myself to be supportive to the rest of the squad, and pretty much I was just turning up and chatting to the people and just keeping my face in and around, and I think it benefited me and hopefully it benefited the squad. I'm not saying that I provided any pearls of wisdom to anybody, but the talent in that squad was just unbelievable, and every time the roster performed, they raised it up another level. On Saturday, I did say that the squad of players there deserved to win the trophy, and I was happy to be there to help them lift it, and I was very grateful to George, the club and the management for inviting me to come up and help pick the trophy up. People always ask me, what would it be like for me to play? I don't think I'd have played that many games, given the form those two boys were in. They were starting the games at the start of the season, and they scored consistently from when they were in. I think I'd have been hard pushed to get a game. I think it's beyond the wildest dreams of the club. I think supporters would have bitten their hand off to have two major trophies in the bag at this stage of the season. Saturday could be a watershed for the club. It just kind of break down all the barriers that we've been trying to push towards winning major trophies.
It's 4 years since the Irish Cup final had to go to a replay. Then Coleraine and Linfield.
79, the players that won that are still considered absolute legends. You see them coming in, you've got Marty Quinn coming in, John Platt, just people just around the club, still talk about 79, and I think the history of the competition, it is a difficult one. You get a couple of chances at it in your career if you're lucky. I'd just say to the players that are in the squad, make sure they go and enjoy it. Don't let the occasion get to them, and hopefully they'll bring the trophy home.
Well, here is the Cliftonville lineup this afternoon. We'll talk about their deadly strike force in just a moment, but defensively, Michael, this season, best in the league, only conceded 38 goals, and Conor Devlin, their keeper, is a young man I know you know plenty about.
Yeah, a young player, obviously, that started his career at Manchester United, has had to rebuild his career and has been exceptional for Northern Ireland at under 21 level in recent seasons as well, and he really has done exceptionally well this season. I know he's really focused on his football, and it's a big shop window for him today. I know a lot of clubs have expressed an interest in him, and also the two centre backs, McGovern and Marc Smyth, have been big players for them as well.
Okay, well let's check out those Cliftonville hotshots.
Good ball to find Gormley. Oh, what a finish! Brazilian-like, outside the right foot. Boyce, what a turn that was. Boyce! Oh, it's 3-0. Never in doubt, once he found the space.
Well, Liam Boyce and Joe Gormley have scored an incredible 65 goals between them this season. 36 for Boyce, who broke the club's 81-year-old record by becoming the club's top scorer in a season, and 29 for Joe the Goal Gormley. I mean, Stephen, they have been in absolutely sensational form this season, haven't they?
Well, you know, normally in a championship winning season you get a centre forward who stands out on his own and scores all the goals. Cliftonville have had 2 of them and they've been simply superb. You try to shackle one of them and the other one's doing the business for you. It's very, very difficult. But you know, they've had great supply of the ball. You know, forwards are only going to score goals when the ball's shoved up their shirt, as the man says. And in Cliftonville's other players in the centre midfield, Catney and Johnston, for me, are 2 sensational footballers, and they drop off into the spaces, they pick the ball up and they dictate the tempo of the game. And when they get the balls out into the wide areas, you've got great delivery from Garrett and from Caldwell, from Donnelly when he's coming off the pitch. So all 1 to 11, they've been class this year and they deserve all they've been given. However, this is a one-off cup final and Glentoran will have a lot to say about it, I'm sure.
Michael, they've been a deadly double act, haven't they, Gormley?
Yeah, they have, and they're quite different. Again, Liam, you know, he went away to Germany, it didn't work out for him. He's come back, he's rebuilt his career here again, and great touch and close control. Gormley has a rawness about him, a hunger about him, and I think they really complement each other really well. You know, and in the earlier cup final here, they were excellent. I've seen them a couple of times this season.
Would you like to see Boyce get a full-time move back across the water?
Yeah, I'd like to see either of them. You know, a number of clubs have asked me about both of them, and I've said they're well worth a look. You know, as I say, Gormley probably is a little bit under the radar because he hasn't played at international level the way Liam has. But certainly the 2 of them have the raw materials to maybe step up another level.
Okay, let's see how they get on in the shop window, of course, this afternoon. But first, let's hear from a couple of very interested fans down there pitch side with Marc.
We've fished out a couple of celebrities. Young Conor Scott, who of course from the BBC's Voice, and our very own Riggsy from BBC Radio Ulster. Riggsy, I'll defer to you. Conor, you've just been singing in front of the comp end here. What was that like?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. You got to sing a wee Cliftonville song, so yeah, it was amazing.
And should anyone doubt your Cliftonville credentials, your dad's here, your 3 uncles are here. Tell us where your uncles have come from.
Yeah, my uncles came from New York, Minnesota and England to get just specifically for this game, so they're all over there in the bottom end of the cup. So yeah, they're all loving it, and it's an amazing occasion, especially for Cliftonville. I think we haven't won the league since '79, or the cup since '79. So you know, can't wait for the game now. You know,
Riggsy, surely you can't disappoint him. His uncle's coming all the way from the States. You can't see a Glens win, can you?
There's Glentoran fans all over the world. They've travelled a long distance to be here as well, so I have no sympathy for him. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a good game.
I was asking you in terms of the Glens who your standout or your soft spot is, and you're saying that the man for you is Elliot Morris.
Elliot Morris has saved us so many times in the last few seasons, not just in the cup campaign. This year he's been fantastic. Him and Colin Nixon, obviously it goes without saying, Colin Nixon for obvious reasons, possibly his last game that in a Glentoran shirt. But Elliot for me it will always be our number 1.
Prediction time, Riggsy.
Cliftonville are a fantastic team, awesome team, but so are we. It's been overshadowed, the fact that Glentoran have got a great mixture of experience and a lot of wide-eyed naivety with their young players, which can come in handy on cup final day. So I think it'll be a very nervy game, maybe a 1-0, which I would be very happy to take. Glentoran to win 1-0.
Conor, I know you'll disagree. I know you'll disagree with that, but I noticed the thatch of thick red hair. Cliftonville, replete with redheads. Are you looking at Liam Boyce? Are you looking at Geordie? Are you looking at another?
Well, red is the colour, you know, and yeah, there's a good few redheads there. You got Boyce, CC and Nets, Conor Devlin, and you've got Geordie McMullan. Yeah, and so they're all fantastic players, and Liam Boyce, I think by a long shot, you must agree with me here, he's been the best player of the season, you know, so...
He doesn't doubt it. Prediction time for you.
3-1 Cliftonville.
3-1 Cliftonville, 1-0 Glentoran. Stephen, it's back to you and the experts.
Yeah, good fun day this afternoon. All the fans enjoying themselves here today. Gentlemen, what do you make of the matchup of the 2 managers this afternoon? Eddie Patterson, of course, former Cliftonville manager, against Tommy Breslin. Both seem to be great exponents of attacking football.
Well, you know, the 2 players were exceptional talents when they played the game, and you know, they're Cliftonville together as manager and assistant manager, and as I say, things move on in football. Eddie has now gone to one of the Belfast Big Two, as they call it, and he's had a hard job there in the last year or two, but I have to take my hat off to him because I think he has coped with everything so well. He's kept that team motivated in difficult circumstances, and to reach a cup final. And as I say, when we've played against them this year, the quality of football has been exceptional. They pass it really, really well. They maybe overpass it a little bit and don't get the ball quickly enough up to and support Waterworth quickly enough. So I'm sure Eddie will be looking at things like that there. But Tommy Breslin, for me, has just impressed me with his mannerism off the pitch, how he's handled everything and coped with players and coped with everything that's been thrown at him. He's been superb, and I've formed a great friendship and relationship with him, and I tell you, he's a top man.
Now, how much today, Michael, do you think a win for Glentoran would save their season after what has been a tremendously difficult time off the pitch with all these well-documented financial difficulties?
Well, certainly cap it off. You know, what goes on behind the scenes, I'm not sure whether it'll alter that. That's probably a longer term problem, and the solution to that lies outside the hands of the players and the management team. But I think for the work that's been put in, and as Stephen touched on there, like they've played continuously despite the problems. They've been motivated, they've been competitive, and they probably deserve something out of the season. The players deserve something going without wages, Eddie working in difficult circumstances, and this is their chance to take it today. But Tommy Breslin has done an exceptional job at Cliftonville, and he'll be reinforcing to his players the significance of today.
And obviously it would be great this afternoon, live on television, big cup final, to see a real entertaining, good advertisement for the local game.
Well, I really hope so. I hope we get a goal in the first 20 minutes. Always settles a cup final down. But yes, the two very good footballing teams, and it just depends who copes with it quickly enough. Cliftonville have been there the whole year, so there's going to be no surprise to them what's going on. They've played in the CIS final, and now they've handled a league, and they've handled a big semi-final against us. So there's nothing that's going to worry them too much. So I think it'll be a very entertaining game of football.
How much will it weigh on Cliftonville's minds this afternoon, Michael, do you think, that they're being talked about as the most successful team in Cliftonville's history if they can win the treble?
I think it is a factor, to be honest. I played in the Glentoran team with the chance to win the 4 trophies, and we came here against Coleraine, and no one gave Coleraine a prayer, and they beat us 1-0. Jody Tolan scored, so we didn't play on the day, to be honest. We didn't turn up, and we chased the game in the second half. So that is a big factor, I think. When you have something like that in front of you, that really this is an opportunity for the likes of Barry Johnston, people like that, to leave their legacy at Cliftonville, and it's a big occasion for those players. As I say, Glentoran aren't coming in with that type of stigma attached to them, and it may well suit them a little bit more. But I just feel on the day, like as Stephen says, the experiences Cliftonville have had this season should stand them in good stead and should see them through.
What is different about this occasion for a player, Stephen? Because just a few players on each side have actually tasted a cup final before.
Well, you've got to settle into the occasion very, very quickly. There's a big fan base here, and some can cope with the nerves, some can't, and that's always a telltale sign, because the legs start to drain if you don't cope with it well. Okay, Stephen, Michael, thank you very much indeed. Cliftonville are 2-5 on this afternoon. Glentoran 7-4 as they go head to head for the very first time in an Irish Cup final. Our commentary team today is Chris Morgan and Jackie Fullerton. Jackie celebrating 40 years in broadcasting this year, and this is amazingly his 25th Irish Cup final. Good afternoon, gentlemen, to you both.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for dating me and making me feel old, but what a lovely introduction. Yes, it's an all Belfast final, East against North, as you said. Cliftonville looking for an historic treble if they win. They were also successful in the league and the League Cup. Glentoran, the big underdogs, as you said. After a troubled season, they'll be hoping to win their first trophy. It's live on the BBC, as you said, Stephen. It's the biggest game of the season, the one the players all want to be part of, and they're all here, young and old. Andy Waterworth, what a season he's had. Over 20 goals. Could he be playing his last game, though, for Glentoran today? The talk is he's coming here to Linfield at Windsor Park. Other clubs are showing an interest. We shall see. But they've had a great season, those young men who follow Cliftonville. There's Liam Boyce, another striker. 36 goals. Could he also be playing his last game for Cliftonville? They'll be doing their best to hold on to him. Now they're meeting the dignitaries here today. There's Gerard Lawler, who's the Cliftonville chairman. He's also chairman of the Irish Cup Committee. The president, Jim Shaw, is there. Anne Hannon, of Marie Curie is there. It's being known today as the 2013 Marie Curie Irish Cup Final. Well, George McMullan will not have to introduce the Cliftonville players to Ger Lawler. The green and black and the red, the balloons representing both sides. The Red Army are out in force. We've even got a red carpet. Some will say that's being biased on a day like this. It's a great scene. We're expecting about 10,000 people here, and Chris Morgan is with me, and a man who won an Irish Cup 2002, scored a couple of goals when Linfield beat Portadown. How are the players feeling right at this moment, Chris?
Jackie, I think probably they want to get the game started, because Cup Final morning, it's a long time before kick-off comes, and that's what it's all about. You want to get the game started, get your first touch of the ball and get comfortable, and put all the nerves behind you, and get your first good touch. So I think these guys now just want to get the game started. Yeah, and I'm just looking at the team sheets. Amazingly, 16 of the 22 players starting are sampling this day, and all the hoopla and hype that goes around it for the first time. Some may freeze, some may thrive. Well, that's it. You sometimes don't know how you're going to react until you come out, and there's a big crowd. They don't play in front of these crowds every week, so you come down that tunnel and you see the North Stand and it's full, and that can start to get the nerves going a little bit more. And I was looking at the teams myself. I think possibly of those starting, Elliot Morris is the only one that's won a cup final as well, so it's a new task for all of them, or for most of the players there, so we'll see how they react. I think the key thing sometimes, Jackie, is, as you'll know, is getting that first good touch on the ball and playing your way into the match. Yeah, you mentioned Elliot Morris, the Glentoran goalkeeper. There he is, number one. He's been number one for about 11 years. 32nd birthday today for that man, who's celebrating a testimonial year. Third cup final, he won one. They beat Coleraine in 04, the last time they won it, and then they lost in 06. Let's go to the teams. You've already seen them, but let's confirm. Cliftonville first, very much as expected, tried and tested, 4-4-2. Deadly duo, Boyce and Gormley up front, plundered 65 goals this season. Johnston, Catney, they provide the heartbeat, the pulse in central midfield. Two central defenders, McGovern and Smyth, they've really been outstanding in their first season at Solitude. Another man who's shone his first season is goalkeeper Conor Devlin. Eamonn Seydack, he gets the nod ahead of Ronan Skinnell. George McMullan is the team captain. Glentoran, their team captain, the man we've been talking about. Goalkeeper Elliot Morris, 32nd birthday today. He could be busy, it says here. And in a 4-2-3-1 setup, really. Another birthday boy today, a centre half, Jaimie McGovern. He's 25 today. Mark Clarke and Stephen McAlorum will operate in front of that back four, with Howland, Richard Clarke and Stephen Carson further forward in support of the lone striker Andy Waterworth, who's got 23 goals this season. Mr. Arnold Hunter, first Irish Cup final for him. He might be a lucky omen for Cliftonville, because he refereed the League Cup final here in January when Cliftonville beat Crusaders by 4-0. Handshakes all round. It could be a feisty contest as well, Chris. You look at the two pairings in central midfield, and both are, all four of them, like a tackle. I mean, you look at Clarke and McAlorum for Glentoran, Mark Clarke against Barry Johnston and Ryan Catney, and that's what their games are. That's what their games are built on: getting about the pitch and putting tackles in and unsettling other people. Tommy's now enjoying it. I think he's been a super manager this year.
He's just over 2 years in the job. I'm sure he can't believe all this after two and a bit years.
Well, Cliftonville sort of knocked on the door, Jackie, for a number of years, and Tommy's just been able to turn them into a winning side now. So we'll see how they. I mean, there's history to be written today, a double. Who would have thought it 2 years ago?
Yeah, great reception there. Glentoran playing in the white shirts today, and Cliftonville, they're in their team huddle. Cliftonville, I don't know what's said there, but obviously this season it's worked well for them. But Glentoran take the applause of some 5,000 Glentoran supporters. There's that huddle I mentioned. They've got their own huddle going on. They are expecting a League and Cup double. They are expecting the treble. And there's the man who could well take them there. What a season he's had. A standout player.
He's been super all year, Jackie, and he's a great player to watch. Not only the goals and goals that he creates, but just his general all-round play. He's such a talented footballer, and who knows whether this is his last game, and it would be a nice way for him to end his second time at Cliftonville.
Mr. Hunter from Enniskillen sets his cup final in motion. 2013 Marie Curie Irish Cup final. And down at pitch level, there's quite a breeze, which is favouring Glentoran in this first half. That looks quite windy down there, doesn't it?
It does, and there looks to be a little bit of a skip off the surface, and it maybe watered it, but I think that'll certainly favour Cliftonville the way they want to play and pass the ball.
Well, I think yesterday our natural climate watered it, Chris, but they may well have watered it this morning. Here's a touch for Elliot Morris. Johnston with the header.
Looks like a fairly considerable breeze too, Jackie. When you see that clearance from Elliot Morris, it fairly caught in the wind and didn't travel too far. So that's something for Glentoran to have to deal with in this first half.
That shot there sums it up. Sean Ward, that's a long throw on the breeze as well. Waterworth. Well done by McGovern, former Glentoran player. Jaimie McGovern. He'll be keeping tabs on that man there, Waterworth. They played this system all season where he's the lone striker. Sean Ward, a longish throw. It's not bad at all. Johnston again. Now here's Boyce. He just helps it on. Hill. Oh, Carson. Well, a little bit of a mix-up there, but Carson brings order to proceedings. Gives it back to Jay Magee. Drills it forward, but too long, and the flag is up on the far side anyhow. And from your experience, Chris, because you played in 3 Irish Cup finals, first opening minutes always a bit nervy?
I think it is that thing, you just want to get your first touch of the ball, and sometimes it can be 4 or 5, maybe 6 minutes before that happens. So, and a good first touch is always important.
A long ball, and it's away for the corner. Glentoran's 40th final. They've won it 20 times. Cliftonville, only their 20th final, and they've won it just 8 times. It's all 34 years ago. Garrett's corner, it's not a bad ball. Morris did well. Johnston back into the mix. Carson into McAlorum through the gap. He was the sandwich, the meat in the sandwich there. And there's the first tackle of the day, Chris.
Yeah, McAlorum does well there because it's that type of breaking ball that Glentoran have to get onto.
Good punch by Elliot Morris.
Yeah, it's just from Carson, lays it to him there, and he bursts through, and it's Catney and Johnston, you know, and that's first one to McAlorum and that, because he gets there first and wins his side a free kick.
Forward by Callacher. Now here's Waterworth. They've got the free kick.
Possibly a needless challenge there, Jackie. I think that Waterworth wasn't really going anywhere in the corner and probably could have shepherded him away, but I think it was maybe Jaimie McGovern.
Cliftonville having to defend. As the boys in the studio were saying, an early goal would help settle things down, would hope open up the play, and I do think we'll get a few goals today, Chris. Let's see, Carson. Mark Clarke was in there. There's Richard Clarke. McAlorum gets it forward. It's not away yet. And that was blocked. First touch for Gormley. He didn't really have too much of a chance.
He didn't, and that's sometimes the part of the game that Gormley needs to maybe improve a little bit. Just that hold-up play when things are against this side.
Well, the referee was there and he didn't give the high foot from Stephen Carson. The linesman did. They've taken it quickly. Seydack down the line. Sean Ward it was with the interception. That might be a free kick. The referee says play on. Marc Smyth. George McMullan. Boyce, he didn't get the touch on it he required. I'm not quite sure what Jaimie Callacher was doing there. But he's considered the throw in. Possibly a little bit of tension from the young man. He's just 21 years of age, Callacher. Glentoran have it. Now Richard Clarke changes direction. Down the line from Magee. David Howland it was. This is good from Glentoran, it's very good. But Cliftonville have dealt with it. Ciaran Caldwell to bring it away, and he's given it away. Richard Clarke. He went for the 1-2.
It's not a bad passage of play from Glentoran. They're starting to look a bit comfortable, and Clarke twice there got on the ball. First he released Waterworth down the side, and then Cliftonville couldn't deal with it. It was Mark Clarke just playing a nice simple pass. Richard Clarke, I felt he might have taken a shot on there, Jackie, but Glentoran will be happy enough with that little passage they've had.
Yeah, and Richard Clarke, I was going to say, he's got 10 goals this season after getting 1 goal last season, so he's enjoying the new system at Glentoran, playing in that attacking role just behind the main striker.
It's the way to get the best of him. That's where he thrives, in the attacking part of the pitch, and I found it strange that Glentoran haven't utilised him there really until this season, and they're starting to see the benefit of doing that.
Glentoran's 51st game of the season, Cliftonville's 53rd, and amazingly 52 games Cliftonville, they've lost just 8 of those. They've 2 trophies in the bag. They've scored 127 goals. They've conceded just 53. It's been a stunning season. These are heady days at Solitude. Callacher. Hill. Gormley turned into trouble again. McMullan. Marc Smyth. Boyce, good control, that's a very good ball, just a little bit too far for Garrett. Cliftonville exerting a little bit of pressure, that is a very good ball indeed. Caldwell! Oh dear, what a miss! What a miss! Joe, the goal, Gormley, the cup specialist. He's got 4 in 4 Irish Cup ties this season. He scored how many? He scored 8 goals in the League Cup campaign in 5 games. That should have been another one, and that should have been Cliftonville 1-up.
I can't believe he's missed it, Jackie, because Joe Gormley is normally so deadly when he gets an opportunity in front of the goal, and great header back across the goal from Ciaran Caldwell. Could have tried to take it on himself and decides to go unselfishly and play it across, and he expected the net to ripple, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely, and if he'd scored, it would have been his 30th goal of the season, making him only the 3rd Cliftonville player in the history of the club to get 30 in one season. Boyce got to that mark this season, he's 2nd, following Norman McCall over 80 years ago, back in the 30s. Here's the chance, look away now, Joe Gormley. Oh dear.
He's not going to get an easier chance to get the 30 goals. It's a great header across from Caldwell, and just takes his eye off the ball.
I think he saw the headlines rather than the ball, he wasn't concentrating. Now, Seydack is there, but I think Boyce will go for it. He does! And he's hitting it near enough out of the ground. Not his usual type of finish.
It certainly wasn't. He's had a bit of joy from free kicks lately, scoring against Linfield and Crusaders from set pieces, but it possibly maybe on that side suited Seydack slightly more with the left foot.
But then Boyce is the striker. He's going to tell the defender, stand aside, son.
How it works, isn't it?
But let's hope it doesn't unsettle young Gormley. It'll lift Cliftonville. It's also a wake-up call, a reminder to Glentoran just how dangerous the men in red can be.
It is, because the ball went into Liam Boyce, and I think Jaimie McGee got a little bit too tight to him, and he rolled him quite easily, and was unfortunate not to play Garrett in the goal scoring opportunity.
Was a bad effort from McAlorum. He's got the breeze behind him, so why not? Easily held by Conor Devlin. Jaimie McGovern got a foot to that. Here's Garrett. He's had a good season. Player of the month for March as well, Stephen Garrett. 13 goals this season.
Yeah, he's had a great season, and down the left it'll be an interesting battle between Garrett and Ward, because both have got loads of pace, and one will nearly counteract the other, because both Ward likes to go forward.
Boyce, here's the footwork. He always keeps us cool. He's so composed. Too close to Elliot Morris though. But that man there, very capable of turning on a few tricks and a bit of style. He'll play a big part today, I think, before it's over.
Yeah, and when he gets in those situations, but defenders don't want to dive in because the fear of giving a penalty away. And Tommy's looking pretty cool there still, Jackie. I think he's probably...
I thought he looked pensive.
Well, I don't think Tommy ever gets pensive.
I think he has a great philosophy, because he always says to me, if we lose, I'll do the interview, Jackie. It's only a game of football. And I think his philosophy transfers itself to the players.
I think so, because they seem to be very relaxed, and they seem to... I actually work with 4 of the guys that play for Cliftonville, and they enjoy being part of that dressing room. He just manages players really well, I think, and he's getting the rewards.
Oh, there's a tremendous spirit in the dressing room. I share a slice of pizza with them sometimes. The banter is mighty. It's a big part of their makeup and the success they've had. Stephen Carson being a little bit aggressive. Shake of the head from Eddie Patterson. 14 months in charge, looking for his first trophy. Spent 6 years at Cliftonville. As manager when they lost the 2009 final. Cliftonville did 1-0 to Crusaders. The boots have changed.
Yeah, they didn't have white, blue and yellow boots in your day, Jackie. They didn't have them in my day.
What's this, your day? Our day.
In our day, that's right, yeah.
No, they've even moved on since your day, which wasn't that long ago.
No, I mean, now you find it, look around the boots, there's not too many players wearing black boots. It's kind of the stand out in the crowd wearing black boots now.
And they also look very light. I wonder if this new word metatarsal came over the radar. Now here comes Seydack. That's a great challenge there by Howland. Sean Ward has given it away. Catney. Jay Ward did well in the air. And the referee gives it to Glentoran. No arguments from Joe Gormley. Sean Ward. Bit of speculation that he might be leaving the Oval. 29-year-old defender, whom I regard as one of the best in the league.
Yeah, he is, and you're right, if there is some whispers that he may be on the move.
Jason Hill. Foot was up there from Caldwell. Jason Hill and George McMullan having a little tete-a-tete there.
Yeah, they're both of similar character, I think, and I think Glentoran need that type of player today. Jason Hill, they need people that are going to get about Cliftonville players and put tackles in and be aggressive.
I think Stephen Carson was in the press this week saying we've got to press them, close them down, do not let them dictate the pace of the game, and he's absolutely right, because this is a red juggernaut, isn't it?
Yeah, and you would fancy if Glentoran can get to half time and they're going to play with the wind in the second half, that's going to have a bearing on the game. And I mean, we're still early with 14 minutes, but I think so far that I'm sure Eddie Patterson's happy enough. The team have started quite well, but take out the obvious chance for Joe Gormley, but it's been fairly even.
Yeah, throw-in goes to Cliftonville. Around 5,000 fans for each side, plus the neutrals. Should be 10 or 11,000, which is good to see. Some fancy hairdos there amongst the crowd. Caldwell not able to make any headway. Oh, he's done well. He's persevered. He's got it back. Cliff will get the cross in. And Glentoran just about get it away. McAlorum helped it on. Seydack. Catney finds his midfield partner Johnston. Good ball. Garrett falls for Boyce. Caldwell. Marc Smyth has joined in, the big central defender. It's blocked. That could be away for the corner, and it is. Cliftonville perhaps changing a little gear, Chris.
Yeah, they lifted a little bit there, and some nice passing, and it started with the ball from Johnston, because the easy pass was probably out to the right hand side, and he spotted Garrett just in a little pocket off the front line, and good reverse pass.
Garrett with the corner. Oh, well taken by Elliot Morris, showing all of his experience. Very confidently claimed by the number 1. I wonder, will he be able to celebrate the 32nd birthday later this evening with a victory? Long, long way to go. Still 0-0 in this Marie Curie 2013 Irish Cup final. Johnston takes it quickly. McMullan, who's done a great job at right back, a man whose natural want is to go forward. He's done well, George, hasn't he?
He has, and he starts so many attacks from that full-back position, and because he's so comfortable with the ball, he picks the passes really well, and I think that's part of why Cliftonville play the way they do, because they've so many players that just want to pass and play the right way.
He was in tears the day they clinched the league. George McMullan, 31 years of age these days. I laughed that day. I was interviewing him. Liam Boyce seemed to suggest his career was over at 31. The look that George McMullan gave him was priceless. But anyway, Gormley, Boyce. Oh, it's wonderful. Still wonderful. It could be even better. Oh, it should have been perhaps just wide of the mark. But a little magical run from the main man.
Lovely feat to get himself in that situation, and just nips past Clarke and then gets faced up with Magee and Callacher, who's passed them both really easily. It's a decent strike. He's not too far away, Jackie.
Tremendous. He is so composed on the ball. He gets the break there and he hits it. And Elliot Morris and Glentoran heave a collective sigh of relief. Unlucky. It's warming up, Chris.
It is,
and Glentoran need to try and push forward. They need to contain Cliftonville first, but they need to try and hit them on the break here in the counter, which they are trying to do. Waterworth. Well, Waterworth handled the ball. He's now discussing the situation with the linesman. In other words, did you not see that I was tripped, Mr. Flagman?
I think he might have been fouled.
I thought he looked as though he had a case. And now what's Marc Smyth getting involved? Johnston in there. I know. I think he sort of threw himself.
Yeah.
Good decision by the officials. Keep calm, Mark. He's had a good season. First season coming back from Scottish football. Yeah. When you think that Tommy brought in Conor Devlin, excellent, Smyth, McGovern. I mean, what a trio they've been in that back five.
It's just, I mean, it's a masterstroke probably who's put McGovern in at centre half, because probably signed him as a fullback, but he's just complimented Marc Smyth so well.
And he's played so well, McGovern, but so too is Smyth. But then they're part of a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, again, good combinations around the park, and they've got that right down the spine of their team. You look at the central two in midfield and the front two, so the back two work in exactly the same way.
So here's Ward with the throw in. McAlorum. Mark Clarke. He's given it away. Ciaran Caldwell. That's not a bad ball at all to find Boyce. Boyce tempting and teasing Callacher. And he's given away the free kick.
Good tracking back from Carson, and wins his team a free kick.
I think Boyce just a little bit lackadaisical there. He's too confident.
Yeah, sometimes he'd put his foot on, he'd roll his foot across the ball, and you're wanting him to play it early, but that's part of what you get with him.
You see the difference in the two managers' body language. Eddie's all signals and Tommy just there.
I think it's that, you know, most managers say there's nothing you can do once the game kicks off.
But I think Mr. Breslin will know that his side are well fixed in this contest in terms of possession and territorial advantages. And they've gone close a couple of times. Boyce unlucky, just wide. Gormley just, well, really missing a sitter. There's no easy way to put it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure Eddie probably expected this is the way the game would be played. I think Glentoran's chance is on the break with Waterworth's pace or from a set piece. I think Cliftonville will be the team that will pass more and have more of the ball.
Yeah, we would expect that. And you mentioned set piece for Glentoran. Waterworth has got it. He makes his way into the middle. Colin Nixon, what a man, 16 years. Let's hope he gets some of the action today. Just under 800 games. He's been a great servant. He's won 5 Irish Cup finals. This would be his 8th final if he come on. Now Carson can cause havoc. Very good at dead ball situations, and as I say that, he makes a mess of that one. Commentators curse.
Jackie, yeah. And, I mean, they'll be disappointed because you look at, I think this is an opportunity. Just overhits it, and it's unlike Stephen Carson, but you look at the height they've got there that Cliftonville don't really have. I mean, you've Callacher and Magee both were up, and Mark Clarke is a threat from set pieces, so when they get the opportunities they've got to put the right ball into the box.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this season. It's still 0-0 here in this cup final, halfway through the first half. 1 win each in 4 meetings before today, and 2 draws. And would you believe both sides in those 4 games have scored 6 apiece? So it's all square going into today. Something has to give.
Yeah, probably. I would say Glentoran's record is better than any team in the league against Cliftonville this year, because 1 win in 4. I don't think there's too many teams that have contained them that way.
Yeah, that's true. The last meeting was a 3-0 win for Glentoran. Having said that, Cliftonville had a weakened side out because they'd already clinched the league championship. But it's still a win's a win. Windsor Park always looks well on cup final day. Nice to see a good crowd in. It's all quiet so far. A goal would change everything. Free kick given.
Gormley does quite well here because he draws the foul nearly out of Mark Clarke, and an opportunity to play it in with that pace that the win behind George McMullan here, and he plays it in with pace. He's really just looking for somebody to get it across the front of their man and maybe try and deflect it in.
Yeah, and young Gormley, who won the free kick, will be desperate to make amends for that glaring miss earlier on. McMullan, does he go for the far corner? Does he chip it to the far post? Chips it. Wasn't a good free kick. Johnston. Catney. Good pressure from Glentoran. To be fair, they're working very hard, Chris. And I'm just looking at the like of Callacher. He's really, every time the ball's played up to Gormley, he's right there. He's stuck to him.
Well, it's a big ask for. I mean, they're both very capable, but Magee and Callacher, they're up against Boyce and Gormley, and everybody's looking at those two as the key players for Cliftonville. So it's a big job for them. But Jimmy Callacher has come in and played centre half this year, and most times I've seen him, he's been super. So alongside Magee, so it's a big job for them, but I think they're capable of doing it.
McMullan. Here's Ward for Glentoran. It's a good ball to find Waterworth. He turned so well, the big striker. He's a bit ambitious from there. And to be fair to Andy Waterworth, he's not had any service worth talking about so far.
No, he hasn't, and it was a decent ball to him from Sean Ward, and he does all the right things as a centre forward, gets it under control, turns away, and it's at that point you want him just to play it maybe into a wide area and get back into the box. But he has a great strike on him, Andy Waterworth, but I don't think it was really ever on to shoot.
Well, Garrett couldn't get a telling touch on it. Ward brings it out. Waterworth the bluff, didn't work out. Catney, Caldwell was back on his heels there. He should have been on the move. McAlorum, he's done well. Then he gives it away.
Probably just having one of those periods that happen sometimes in big games where people, players start to give the ball away cheaply, and it sort of creates a bit of a pattern. But
yeah, we saw a little shot of Tommy Breslin there. He was almost animated. Maybe he would like the tempo a little bit sharper from the men in red. Here's Boyce. Well, he's asking a bit there of Garrett, who's got there, being pursued by Howland. And fair play to David Howland. He's done enough to put him off.
Yeah, because we talked about Garrett and his pace, and probably don't want to see him running down the sides too often. 1v1 with Ward. I know he's quick, but just in that final third, Howland will defensively will get into that position quite often. So that's the way I think Eddie set his team up. It is a team of containment.
Yeah, you were saying that when we got the team sheet, because you said who's going to be striking. I said Waterworth.
Yeah,
but he hasn't been adventurous.
No, it's not, and you can understand that this is the team that more or less got them to the final. They won their semi-final with a sort of 4-5-1 formation. Clarke and Waterworth are the two outlets, but there's not an awful lot other than that with Carson. But I don't think Stephen is a goal scorer; he's more a creator.
Mark Clarke plays it out wide. Down the line from Howland. Here's Richard Clarke. Better from Glentoran. Waterworth. Oh, it falls to Sean Ward. He can hit one, but he hits it well wide. And it didn't get a touch on the way through. Sean Ward, he's got 2 goals this season in 46 appearances. None in the cup. And after this, he still has none in the cup. He'll be disappointed.
Sits nicely for him and just strikes across it a little bit too much, and his eyes probably lit up when he seen the ball rolling back and thought, I'm going to smash this, but
I'll have a piece of this. Now here's Garrett. Johnston Catney sat there in midfield as always. Run on for Gormley. Magee that time keeping tabs on the run of Gormley.
Does the right thing. Sorry, Jackie.
Sorry, Chris.
No, I just send it does the right thing. Just gets it away from the danger area. Don't try to do anything too clever.
Seydack's throw. Boyce, oh, that's a good ball. Johnston, and he did not connect. Barry Johnston.
It's a half chance again. It's probably a better chance than the Sean Ward one because he's rolling away from him a little bit, but just stretching, doesn't get the strike on it. Eddie's out barking there, and
I think he's saying get tighter, get tighter.
He runs off the back of McAlorum there, and McAlorum's ball watching, and Johnston's in the space behind him, but it's not the greatest finish.
Yeah, 33-year-old Johnston, very experienced, top player. And he would tell you that himself.
He would, and he's added a few goals this year to his. You look at the two of them in midfield and you would expect both of them to sit, but Barry Johnston's...
Yeah, Barry's got 4 goals, all of those in the league campaign. Now, Richard Clarke. Waterworth. He's always quick out of the blocks. Waterworth. Trying to create space. Oh, he could have crossed it there, I thought. Could be Cliftonville's ball, and is. Coming up to the half-hour mark, we still await the first goal in this Marie Curie Irish Cup final of 2013. Has something been thrown? Let's hope not. Let's see what that is. I can't see. Let's hope it's not a golf ball. There's something. It's a water bottle, it looks like. We don't want to see that, particularly at the showpiece of the season. Still trying to work out what that is. But, whatever it is, it shouldn't be there. Look at disgust from Eamonn Seydack in front of the Glentoran supporters. And, let's hope everybody remains calm.
I'm not sure, has Arnold Hunter stopped it for just to settle things down? And
well, there's nobody getting attention, so nobody has been cut or hurt. And maybe the referee is right, just pausing a little bit, clearing the pitch, just to let the thing simmer down. Stephen Carson getting instructions from Eddie Patterson. Liverpool players not happy. Yeah, it came from the upper deck, I think. Oh dear, dear, dear. Why do those people come to an Irish Cup final?
I have no idea, Jackie, because what are they hoping to achieve by doing that? It just mind boggles why somebody comes and wants to throw things at players on the pitch.
Yeah, it's a big day. It's live on BBC television, I'm glad to say. And we want football to be the winner. No matter who wins and lifts the trophy at the end of it. Let's hope it's a little one-off. Football certainly doesn't need anything on a day like this. Back to the football.
Yeah.
There's Roland Skinnell closest to camera. And the Cliftonville substitutes warming up. Waterworth. Oh, he's done well, Andy Waterworth. Stepping away from McGovern. Oh, it's a good ball. That's a great save and well judged by the keeper. I think it was McGovern who was going in there with the flying header. And that's the first real threat from Glentoran, and nipped in the bud by Conor Devlin. We play on. Here's Boyce. There could have been a free kick. Now here's Gormley. Good goalkeeping again. Gormley. Oh, he's in there. It's 1-0. Joe, the goal, Gormley has made up for that awful miss early in the game. 30th goal of the season, into the history books. The third Cliftonville player to hit 30 goals in one season. Well, well, well. He will feel so relieved, but he also feels so pleased. They are one up and he's got the goal.
Yeah, and he probably gets a bit lucky again because he gets a chance, and it all comes from a quick breakaway, and Boyce does so well, plays him in. Faced up with the goalkeeper, and Elliot Morris does really well because he gets out right on top of him and smothers the shot, deflects up in the air, unfortunately for Glentoran, and Joe Gormley, there he is, puts it in the back of the net and 1-0.
To be fair, the keeper did well, and then Glentoran, their luck ran out, and Gormley was there to finish it in the end. How vital will that goal be? The breakthrough goal. The men in red have taken a step closer to a League and Cup double and a treble.
And it just came, Jackie, off the back of probably one of Glentoran's most
smiles from Thomas.
Yeah. But yeah, I was saying it came from a Glentoran broke down the right with Waterworth and puts a great ball into the box that could have resulted in a goal, and Cliftonville break away and punish them in the most cruelest of ways, I suppose.
I think Gormley has been booked, has he? I've been looking at so many replays for showing a t-shirt. I don't know what was on the t-shirt, but there you go. Arnold Hunter, the referee, deemed it the wrong thing to do. But there's the caption. Gormley has got the goal which separates the sides in this cup final. They are loving it right at this moment. Now, Glentoran try to hit back. Sean Ward, plenty of men in white shirts in the middle. Ward still going. Here's Mark Clarke. He can hit them. He does hit it. Took a few deflections. Cliff will come away, but Garrett has played the wrong ball. Boyce wanted a defeat. How much will that do for Cliftonville?
Well, you'll see them starting to, I think, their confidence, it happens when you score, your confidence lifts. But Glentoran have actually come back here. I know it's only a minute or so, or 2 minutes, but they're on the front foot, and they've got to keep playing that way, because if they don't, Cliftonville will pick them off, and the way they can play when they get in front, you would fear for Glentoran maybe.
Carson, he gave Carson no chance there, Mark Clarke. Caldwell. Well, he tried to stay onside. He didn't succeed. Always thought the linesman was about to lift that flag.
Yeah, he was waiting that there's this rule you can only be offside when you play the ball. I wasn't sure whether Jaimie McGee on the far side got stepped up in time, but linesman's in much better position than me. So
Callacher feeds it wide to his central defensive partner, Jaimie McGee. The sun has come out, and it's shining on Cliftonville at this moment.
It means the game will open up, I think, Jackie, because Glentoran can't sit and contain anymore, and the big fear for Glentoran is that when it opens up is that that's when Cliftonville will punish you, but they now have to change their game plan. They can't sit back and can't hope for a breakthrough, because the game will just get beyond them then.
Yeah, and how will Glentoran cope with going behind? As you say, Chris, they've got to come out, they've got to go forward. It's not a league game. You have to come out, you're one down. There's nothing else for it. Here's Carson. Another man who hasn't got great service and who could hurt Cliftonville if he did get decent service. Mark Clarke. Richard Clarke made the run. Smyth decided not to find his keeper. Jason Hill will help it on, he does. McAlorum. Ciaran Caldwell gets to throw in. Well, biting of nails times for the Glentoran boss. Not too many happy faces there.
I'm not sure, did he just tell one of his players to go and warm up there, and was it?
Yeah, we've got a couple of Glentoran players warming up. But we also have Cliftonville players warming up, so we'll see what develops. Here's Sean Ward. Garrett stuck to it, but it's away for the goal kick. 7 minutes to the break, plus whatever's to be added on. 1-0 Cliftonville. Gormley after 33 minutes. Slight touch of good fortune about the goal, but it made up for an awful chance, an awful miss that Gormley, the goal scorer, didn't take early on in the final. He made up for it big time with that goal. 30 goals in the season. It's not bad for a striker, is it, Chris?
Yeah, it's not bad when you've got another one that's got 36. It's
it's a recipe for danger, isn't it?
It's kind of, you remember back to Thompson and Ferguson that season at Linfield, where they scored, high 30s each, so.
That's right, yeah. No, did Peter not score about 48 that season or something?
Probably.
That was an incredible total. Fergie was the master, without doubt. Mr. Glenn Ferguson. In by Ward. It's a good run by Howland. Here's Carson trying to get involved. He didn't keep it in, sadly for Glentoran. And the goal kick has been given. And we have no sponsor this year, sadly. That's why we hope this showpiece occasion goes well today, to try and attract money into the game. But there is a prize fund, and the winners will get £20,000. The runners-up will get £15,000. When you finish the day on the losing side, you're not really thinking about money. There's only the disappointment which blots all of those good feelings out of your mind. Cliftonville could well march on to that League and Cup double, the treble, more money, and the chairman Gerald Lawler and all the people at Cliftonville have so deserved success, because they have taken that club by the scruff of the neck and they have organised things, budgets, etc. Oh, this is good. There's danger here. Once again, the keeper comes to the rescue, and it was Waterworth, the ace predator, who was denied by that man there.
Yeah, what a save.
But Waterworth will see that as a real chance to make it 1-1. He got through there. McGovern misjudged it. The keeper didn't.
I think he probably does everything right too, Jackie, because he gets it down into the floor, and only that I suppose he doesn't direct it past the goalkeeper, but he does quite well, I think, to get over the ball because it's bouncing. And but a big save from Devlin. It's the two times he's been called into action, he's saved goals, I think.
And that's the way he's been playing all season, and has added to their success.
Yeah, it's the sign of a good goalkeeper, where they don't have much to do, and when they're called upon, they do their job. And two big saves so far.
Hard to believe he's just 21, Conor Devlin. He's a very talented goalkeeper, the under-21 international, formerly at Manchester United. Boyce and Tommy Breslin there, I think, wanted free kick for a push, but they didn't get it. Here's Callacher. Steps away from Boyce. Callacher, nearly a good ball. Catney, that's not a bad ball at all. Now Elliot Morris retreating, and that'll be a corner. It's a way out of play off Jaimie McGovern. Another good run by the young striker, just 22 years of age, Gormley.
You knew that once it dropped, Jackie, that he was just going to have a go at it. And the season that he's had, you wouldn't have been surprised if he'd have caught that and sent it flying into the top corner.
Yeah, I think he spotted it, Elliot Morris off his line. And Elliot had to retreat very quickly. So who's this coming over to take the kick? Richard Clarke on the post there behind Elliot Morris. There's the corner. Now Johnston, good block. Glentoran come away. Waterworth, oh, he's caught up to it, he's done well. He's got McAlorum in the middle, and that's a free kick, and that could well be a booking. It's Barry Johnston.
Yeah, I think that's right decision from Arnold Hunter, and sometimes I think that's called taking one for the team, because Waterworth is away down that right hand side, and it's a great bit of play by Andy Waterworth. Picks it up in the halfway line and turns a defensive clearance into a really dangerous situation.
Yeah, as you say, Barry knew exactly what he was doing.
I think George McMullan tried to do it on the halfway line as well.
Yeah. 33-year-old Barry could have no complaints about that booking. Now a chance for Glentoran to hit back, and what a good time it would be just before half-time. Clarke, Waterworth, they're all in there. Jason Hill has moved up this time. Is he going to take it? It is Hill. It's not a bad ball. McMullan, he's not the tallest of men, but he did well to get his head to it. McGovern's clearance blocked, and they want the keeper to come, and George McMullan felt he had waited long enough. Hill. Mark Clarke goes right. Now Carson, will he cut inside onto his left foot? He does just that. Not a bad ball. Richard Clarke is there, but plenty of red shirts, and they manage to get it away. Now could there be another break on here? There could well be. Gormley stays offside. He leaves it for Caldwell. Caldwell, he's got the free kick. No arguments or appeals from Hill, and he's been booked, Jason Hill. So Jason Hill in the book. He'll have to be careful from now on in.
There's another good break from Cliftonville, and again Glentoran go on the attack, and Cliftonville are so quick on the break. Boyce on the halfway line and holds it in, and then finally releases Caldwell.
We are coming up to the allotted 45 minutes. It's 1 minute to be added on in the first half. We are in time added on at the end of this first half. Seydack, he can hit a free kick. He's got 2 goals this season, Eamonn Seydack. He's got one of those goals in the Irish Cup. I think he might be heading for the near top corner. Confirmation that Jason Hill got a card. Seydack, he didn't go for height. It's found its way into Caldwell and into the hands of Elliot Morris. And that may well be it. Here's Richard Clarke. The referee blows his whistle. Gormley has got the only goal. Joe the goal Gormley, 33 minutes. He was blocked the first time, he got the ricochet, and there he was to tuck in the rebound. Boyce and all, very happy indeed. He walks off in discussion with the referee, but they will enjoy their cup of tea at the break. Eddie Patterson has a bit more talking to do, and this first half belonged in goal terms to the Red Army. They lead because of that man there by 1-0 in this Marie Curie Irish Cup final.
You'll have been enjoying that first half with me. Stephen, what's your assessment of that first 45 minutes?
Well, I think Cliftonville have dominated most of the possession of the ball. They've put so much pressure on Glentoran, and the goal was always coming, and it was only a matter of time. You know, Glentoran's have been restricted to shots from well outside the box, well off target. Cliftonville's penetration looks good all of the time. They look like they could maybe go up 2 or 3 goals at the good at half time, but they've been clinical in the right areas. They've got the right delivery into the box, and once they get the right delivery to someone like Joe Gormley, he's not going to miss, and he took his chance well. Okay, let's get some Cliftonville reaction.
Thanks, Stephen, with the assistant boss, Peter Murray. Peter, 1-0. Let's take you back to the first chance. Do you think it should have been 2?
Yeah, I think it should have been. The first one was probably an easier chance than the one he took, but it's been a scrappy enough game. We're delighted actually to come in 1-up. I think it's scrappy enough. Draw was probably a fair result for the first half.
And Tim McCann watching the game with me there, he says Conor Devlin, he spread himself like Peter Schmeichel there to keep you at 1-0.
Well, Conor's been doing that all season, and he's a very important member of our squad, and we told him today if we keep a clean sheet, we'll win the cup today.
You going in happy?
We're in happy.
Cheers, Peter.
Well, Michael, your old club Glentoran just can't seem to get a foothold in this game at the moment.
Yeah, they struggled with a little bit of play there the last 5 minutes. I thought they did a little bit better. The first half was difficult for them. You know, territorial-wise, Cliftonville have dominated. They probably maybe haven't created as many chances as they would have liked, but Glentoran just haven't managed to really get the likes of Carson in the game. Waterworth showed a few glimpses with strong running and had a decent chance as well. But you know, whether win's a factor in that, we'll see in the second half, to be honest. But I think they're obviously going to have to maybe change something tactically, or certainly, you know, play at a higher intensity than have done in the first half.
Yeah, Cliftonville playing with that strong breeze at the moment, Stephen. But they seem to save their best football, Glentoran, until after the Cliftonville goal.
Well, I think so. You know, I think the way Glentoran set up, they're always looking for a very predictable ball over the top to Andy Waterworth, and Cliftonville have mopped that up quite easily, and therefore they're dictating the shape of the game, and they're dictating the passage of the game and the tempo of the game. And Glentoran are going to have to go in and rethink that, I think, at half time, what they're going to do. The wind maybe will come into the factor. Whether they get an extra body up front to support Andy Waterworth, we'll have to wait and see. But Glentoran will need to really up their game, I would say, quite a bit just to get back into this game.
And as we talked before the game, Michael, the Cliftonville strike force has been dominant, though Joe Gormley will not want to see replays of this first insert, his miss, open goal miss today.
Yeah, the first chance comes off, it's a good cross here at the back post, and Caldwell does the right thing, knocks it back in a great area. But he's on the move. and he has a swing at it with his right foot. His left foot's obviously a stronger foot, as we'll see later on, but he'll be disappointed he misses there, obviously, but in saying that, good strikers miss and come back for more, and he certainly did that later on. But it's a great chance. It's great delivery. I think it's Garrett and Caldwell coming in the back post on the other side of the pitch does the right thing. That
was really Cliftonville signalling their intent early, that they were always going to be dangerous up front today, Stephen.
Yeah, I think so. I think the movement of the two strikers has been very good. You know, we've seen a lovely move from Boyce dropping off with clever feet, worked his way into a good shooting position, just dragged it past the post, and then the movement for the goal, the opening goal, was sensational, because once the Boyce made the run, we had the run of Gormley coming off the shoulder of Magee, and once he got into that position, he was always going to score.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. Obviously, it was an absolutely classic Cliftonville on the counter-attack, Michael, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, Gormley finds space well, but the whole thing features around, as I say, Boyce picking the ball up. We'll see here, I think, you know, the ball's cleared at one end. It's well, this is the Waterworth chance actually over the top. Devlin makes a good save here in this instance. Again, I think Andy will probably be disappointed. You know, he hits it at the goalkeeper a little bit, spreads himself well. Conor, he doesn't know too much about it. You can see he hits him on his right shin, but that was their best chance of the half for Glentoran. See here then the goal. I think they picked the ball up. They win it well here, and this is where Boyce is at his best. You know, he's picked the ball up a little bit deeper. Nice little ball. Gormley, Elliot does well. He's out very sharp, but he shows great composure here to sort of reposition himself. The ball's dropping over his shoulder, and it's a great finish. You know, as I say, really good finish. Boyce clever feet, which he's shown throughout the first half, and having missed the first chance, he does fantastically well here to finish it off. And you know, as I say, the two of them are always going to be a threat, and it'll be the same in the second half.
Since Tommy Breslin signed Joe Gormley, that's now 44 goals in 90 games. I mean, what a signing that young man has been, Stephen.
Well, I had a conversation with him before he signed for Cliftonville, and you know, he came from Crumlin Star, where I think he had scored an incredible record amount of goals, 70 or 80 goals in one season. So he's a goal scorer, and when he gets into those positions, he doesn't really miss. And the goal that he scored was sensational, because that ball coming out of the sky over the top of your shoulder is probably the hardest the ball you have to work with as a centre forward, and he done it with quite great simplicity.
Yeah, great finish, Michael, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You know, it looks. You know, you look at the goalkeeper. He hit the first one off the goalkeeper. He has to react, and he just focuses on the ball. You know, and making good contact. And he has, you know, that great technique in front of the goal. His goal scoring record obviously backs that up. And you know, his background's an interesting one, because he still has that rawness and freshness about him from someone that's come from, you know, an amateur league background or wherever Crumlin play at what level. But as I say, he has something, and I think a lot of raw talent that can be developed.
Okay, and obviously Cliftonville had a bucket load more chances to score. We can see a couple examples of that now, Stephen. Liam Boyce first of all.
Yeah, this was a lovely move again, but he makes it all. He leaves one player in his bum, and he jinks past two or three. Ball breaks nicely for him, and he'll probably be a little bit disappointed. We all said goal as soon as he got into the position to shoot, but you watch his clever feet. He's gone past one, he'll drift into another one, lets on to shoot, drifts past him. And you know, this is the cleverness of Boyce. He's been doing this all season and really hurting teams with his quality.
He'll have been disappointed he didn't score there, probably.
Yeah, he has. It's great feat, you know, and he just comes back to him. Yeah, he should score actually, and by his standards he should score. But again, you know, he has that ability just when he drops off, where he brings defenders onto him. He doesn't have fantastic pace, but what he has is great technical ability to beat people. We see here again linking the play. Barry Johnston an opportunity to shoot, and most of Cliftonville's attacking play will come through Boyce. You know, the ability to bring people into play, the ability to suck people towards him and play people through as well, and he has a real, you know, top level technique.
We saw that Andy Waterworth chance for Glentoran a little earlier, but apart from that, to be honest, they haven't really created that much. They've been forced to shoot from a long way away.
Yeah, we've been disappointed, because there's been you know, 3 or 4 efforts. Here's a ball into the box, overhit back post.
Unlike him.
Everybody up, yeah. You know, and that was the sort of the tail of their first half performance. You know, disappointing. You put that amount of players into position, you don't get it in. Here's another one. There's a shot from Andy Waterworth. You know, he's snapping at a ball from 30-35 yards. Nothing else on. They're not offering any penetration to shoot from that sort of distance. Here's another one coming. We'll see coming into the box. You know, it's knocked back. The goal shot, you know, miles off target. So that was a sort of indicative of their play in the first 30 minutes. They weren't really clever until they got the Waterworth chance. So Glentoran are going to go in there and have to regroup a little bit, and Eddie's going to be saying to them, look, settle down, once you get in the good positions to score, take your time and try and hit the target.
Yeah, how can Glentoran get back into this game? It feels as if it's just slowly drifting away from them at the moment.
It certainly did. I felt after the goal. I think then they did manage to regroup just before half time. I think they'll have to push someone closer to Waterworth, to be honest. You may have to go 4-4-2, whether it's a case of dropping Carson and maybe in behind Waterworth and using him as your third midfield player and bringing someone on the left hand side. I just feel they haven't got Carson in the game at all, and maybe if they can get him picking the ball up in areas similar to Boyce, you have Waterworth's pace then, and you may be able to play him in, and they may get a little bit of joy out of that.
Okay, let's get the view of a former Cliftonville and Glentoran player. Tim McCann's talking to Marc.
No surprise to Stephen, he's in agreement with Michael and Neil. You were just saying to me, Michael, making the point in the studio that Glentoran need to reconfigure 4-4-2. You feel that's the case, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, they started off maybe showing Cliftonville a bit too much respect. They were playing a system of 4-2-1-3. They've got two screeners sitting in front of the back four, and it's just not working. I also feel that Andy Waterworth's the centre forward. He's a top goal scorer, but he's doing too much of his work out in the right wing. The one time that Andy was through the middle, he nearly scored.
Tim, you've been also making the observation down pitch side, how you're very, very blustery, and it's your feeling and observation that Cliftonville have worked out the win much better, much more adept than Glentoran.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows how good of a team that Cliftonville are. Glentoran are playing a lot of high balls in the air. Cliftonville are getting the ball on the ground. They're playing the ball in the feet. They're getting in the Boyce's feet. They're getting Garrett involved, and they're knocking the ball about. They're not playing any high balls. They're keeping it on the deck, so therefore, the wind doesn't affect them.
Call it for me, Tim.
Well, they need to make a change very, very quickly. I fear that if Cliftonville get another goal, that'll be it. But as I say, you can never write off Glentoran, especially not in the cup final.
Thanks, Tim.
Well, what do Glentoran need to do you think, Stephen, to try and get back in here?
Well, they've got a young fella sitting on the bench called young Martin Murray, and what a quality player he is. He's lively, he works really into the spaces. He'll be lively in the box and score a goal. He's impressed me in the last month or two when I've seen him play. So I think he'll be looking to him to come off the bench and really start firing it up, because they need to get an extra player up beside Andy Waterworth. Otherwise the game will slip away from him, and if they leave holes at the back, these two boys will exploit them all day. So, we watched Cliftonville destroy our team in the second half here, albeit against 10 men. But whenever you give Cliftonville space to play you, they'll work the chances and they'll work more opportunities. So it's important that Glentoran get the next goal. Otherwise, this game will slip away from them.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Michael, for the moment, there have been some fantastic goal scores this year in the local game, and every month in our weekly online show, Final Score 2, we've selected the best one. Which one would you pick as your goal of the season? Well, on this week's Final Score 2, you can find out which goal we've picked as the best, plus we'll have highlights of today's Irish Cup final, and we also reveal our team of the season. Join Joel Taggart and Chris Morgan on the BBC Sports website, and that will be available from Tuesday. Stephen, what's your favourite there? Got to be the last one.
Oh, Courtney's goal, you know, was a wonderful strike, wasn't it? A lovely technique, and to see it swinging like that there, it's wonderful. It reminds me of my golf shots when I'm trying to hit them into the 18th.
No, yours go the other way. I know that. Michael, do you enjoy coming back and trying to take in as much of the local game as you possibly can as international manager?
I mean, and previously, like managing Shamrock Rovers, I watched loads of Irish League football, particularly with the seasons not coinciding, you know, so I watched as much of it as I could. So no, I like coming back. I've seen some good games this season, seen some really competitive games. There was a Crusaders Linfield in the Cup where they battled each other that night in Seaview, which was a fantastic game as well. So no, it's always nice to come back and see
But from your point of view, any of the players on show here today and right through the league, you'd really like to see them playing their football full time across the water or somewhere if possible.
It would be nice to see more players come out of the Irish League, you know, and go on to have full-time careers. You know, when I look at the squad that we have, I think Gareth McCauley's probably the only one really in the last 10 years that has come out, established himself, obviously gone on now to play right at the highest level and become an international player. It would just be nice to see more of that. You know, we need to find international players and, you know, we either send them across at 16 or we develop them here at home. So hopefully, you know, we can continue and more players can use the Irish League as a platform to get into full-time football.
And you as international manager, can you help that process by trying to get some of these guys and push them into the shop window?
I mean, I speak to managers all the time, and certainly, you know, any of the managers who ask me about the likes of, you know, Boyce and Gormley, you know, I sing their praises and say they're well worth a look. You know, they're attached to clubs obviously, and Cliftonville have done a fantastic job with them, but there's always players here that are worth having a look at and get the opportunity to go across. You know, Rory Donnelly was the last one probably of note, and it would be nice to see more lads get the chance.
Some great young talent on show right across the Irish League though, Stephen, isn't it?
Well, very much so. You know, Stuart Dallas was another one that got across of recent times, and you know, Boyce and Gormley can play at the highest level, but as can a good number of others. The great difficulty now is that you know, in England they're cutting budgets over there the same as they're cutting them here, and you know, guys are being made redundant. So you know, there's so many players that are out of contract over there, so they're not really looking to Northern Ireland to bring in one or two of our good players. But you know, I think the product here has got better in the last year or two. I think the teams are passing the ball better. They're working hard off the field. Michael's brought so much to the junior ranks at international level. We're seeing that start to come through when you get one or two of the good young players coming your way. So I think it augurs well for the future. We must continue to lift our product here in Northern Ireland, and we're trying to do that.
Okay, well, let's hope for an exciting second half this afternoon. Michael, do you fear if Cliftonville score again, then that's it for Glentoran?
Yeah, I think so. I think another goal, if we're going to get a real game out of this, it has to be Glentoran that are going to score next. I think if Glentoran do push on, Cliftonville have the players that will hurt them on the counter-attack, which will make for a good second half, but certainly, yeah, Glentoran need to come out and certainly lift their intensity and hopefully get themselves level.
Yeah, the first kind of 15 minutes of the second half, key for Glentoran, Stephen.
Well, yeah, I think Glentoran really need to score in the first, you know, in 20 minutes here to try and make a cup final of this. If they don't score and the pressure starts coming on top of them again, I think Cliftonville will run out 2-3, maybe 4-0 here.
But Cliftonville obviously don't want to get ahead of themselves, Michael. They know what's at stake here. They've even got the open top bus booked for tomorrow afternoon for the tour of North Belfast, so they won't want to get ahead of themselves. They know this job is not quite done yet.
No, and I think Peter Murray touched on his interview, like he sort of hinted that, you know, they felt quite fortunate to go in ahead, which is, you know, they'll be re-emphasising that to the players and making sure they're fully focused for the second half.
Stephen, you still fancy Cliftonville very much here?
Well, I have done, you know, for a wee while leading up to this. I thought Cliftonville would be too strong for Glentoran. As I say, Glentoran definitely need to get back into the game quickly, and if Cliftonville start playing the way they can do, they've got that ability to hurt you in the last 20 minutes, and they can run out 2, 3, 4 goals very, very quick succession. So
banner there for Colin Nixon saying thanks for the memories, but really it's not a defender that Glentoran need this second half, but he has scored a lot of goals for the club, and important ones too, Michael.
He certainly has, you know. It's one of Nicky's biggest attributes, I fear to be, you know, and he scores important goals. To be fair to him, you know, like he's really a big threat at set pieces as well. So it may be something that Eddie has to turn to later in the game.
Well, Tommy Breslin strutting out. He certainly looks the more confident of the two managers at the moment. Glentoran fans have seen their side go 1-0 down to Cliftonville. Can they respond in this second half? Let's go back to our commentary team, Chris Morgan and Jackie Fullerton.
Thank you very much indeed, and yes, the boys in the studio, Chris, were talking about Glentoran. They have to change it, and I think I would go along with that 4-4-2. But what are we talking about? Who are we talking about would come on?
Well, I think when you look at their bench, the only recognised striker is Richard Gibson. If you're going to go, two strikers, you could push O'Hanlon out. You could bring O'Hanlon on, put him in one of the wide areas, and maybe move Clarke or Carson. Marcus Kane could go in the wide areas. So I'm not sure the personnel suits them to do it. I know they have Gibson there, but I don't know whether they'll go it. They've played one up essentially all season, so they definitely need to do something different. And for me, it might be taking one of the defensive midfielders off. Putting Howland in there, who's better on the ball, and maybe bringing O'Hanlon on in wide right.
Yeah, but I think we're all agreed that the next goal, indeed, as the boys were talking about in the studio, vital. If it goes to Glentoran, we've got a cup final. If it goes to Cliftonville, they could be on the way to that elusive League and Cup double and the treble we keep talking about. No changes to either side at this stage. Eddie Patterson there, laid out of the gates. He's just arriving. His team now facing the breeze, which seems to be still as strong. It's so funny, it seems to be swirling breeze, but mainly with Cliftonville in this second half. 1-0 Cliftonville. Gormley, 33 minutes. I still think we have more goals in this game, Chris.
Yeah, I think so, Jackie. The boys in the studio were talking, they can see Cliftonville running away with it, and I think if they get the next goal, then that can be the case.
Let's see. That was Marc Smyth. Magee got his head to it. Boyce done well, a little cushioned header. He's always dangerous in this situation, but not this time. Although he's had a good game, he's shown us he set up the only goal of the game as well. A little bit of magic.
Yeah, and he's close again because he turns a sort of just a long ball into a chance for himself. Wins the first one and then picks up the second one as well.
Now McGovern takes it away from Richard Clarke. Richard Clarke getting further forward. That's part of the plan, I'm quite sure. Carson. Ireland's at the back of the box, too high there for Waterworth. He made the run, Andy Waterworth. Cliff will come away with it. Garrett, time to turn. Catney didn't have time. He finds McGovern. George McMullan, the skipper, takes his time, gets it forward. Callacher and Boyce involved.
I don't think the boys can actually believe they skipped the free kick against him.
It certainly didn't look a free kick for Glentoran. And Boyce was voicing his opinion. He couldn't lip read. Now, here's Jason Hill. Gets it back from Carson. McAlorum trying to get forward as well. It's out of play. And the Glentoran fans are looking at the North Stand. They've been quiet. A goal would work wonders for their mood, though. Magee. He'll cushion it over the line. He does. And the referee will want a word in his shell-like. But there's obviously got to be a little bit of frustration in the Glentoran ranks. They know they've got to get back into this final or it's going to slip away from them.
Yeah, and I think you go back to that whole the situation with the wind. I think you can already see they're playing the game more in Cliftonville's half.
That's off Catney, away for the throw-in.
On both the kickouts as well, Jackie, from Elliot Morris so far. Mark Clarke's pushed on quite advanced. He won the first one that Richard Clarke nearly got in on, and he wasn't too far winning the last one. So that could be a tactic to try and get them back into the game.
Towards Waterworth, there it is. Richard Clarke hits it into the ground. He scuffed it a bit. 10 goals this season, as I said earlier, but not with a finish like that. It's the sort of chance you look for on a day like this. He just didn't catch it.
Yeah, but it's good link up, and that's where Richard Clarke's dangerous, getting off the striker and picking the second ball up, and that's why he's scoring goals this season, because Glentoran are deploying him there.
Yeah, he must have been glad to see Eddie Patterson arrive at the club. He's played over 40 games this season. He's been in and out of the team the last couple of years. Didn't do him any good, and now he's playing in a position, that advanced position, which he enjoys. Here's Howland. Catney snapping at his heels. Mark Clarke. That's a very good ball. Oh, as I say that, it skips away from Carson. He never underestimated the pace on the ball. Disappointment for Eddie Patterson once again.
Yeah, but he could probably be happy enough so far, Jackie, with how his team have come out. And it's unfortunate Mark Clarke's pass just skipped away from Carson, but they've started on the front foot.
I like the point Stephen Watson made at half-time there, that Cliftonville can't afford to get ahead of themselves, but they have the bus booked for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think they are ahead of themselves.
Yeah, well,
but that's for the league.
Yeah, they've had a great season.
The League Cup.
Yeah, they've had a great season regardless, and they're close to making it an absolutely superb season.
They will become legends of the club if they win this today. Now, Carson, Glentoran and Carson will have other ideas about the outcome of this final. In it comes. Callacher was up from the back. He didn't get to it. Now, Mark Clarke had to stretch. He was never getting there. They're feeding off scraps up there at the moment in the final third, Glentoran.
But again, they've had a chance to put it in the box from a set piece, and I don't think the delivery was overly great. And I mean, with that wind advantage, if it's going in, with pace, it makes it difficult for defenders to deal with it. But it wasn't a great delivery again. So if that's going to be a route to goal for them, they've got to make sure the delivery is better.
Yeah, and they've got to believe that this final is far from done and dusted. And I think Cliftonville will have to believe that this final is not done and dusted. They cannot be complacent.
The thing is, the next
Johnston
goal...
got it forward.
Yeah, sorry, Jack, I'm just saying that the next goal is so important, because the shift of momentum, if it goes to Glentoran, if Cliftonville get it, it's over, I think, but... Glentoran have got to believe that they can get there.
Now here's Waterworth talking about Glentoran getting there. Waterworth, he waited too long. Fantastic tackle by Marc Smyth, and he is giving off to the men in front of the back four. And Waterworth will know he should have hit it much earlier.
Yeah, I think once he delayed, he would be better either trying to cross it or else go past the last defender.
Carson, that's a very good ball, but a great take it was from Devlin. There's a candidate for your man of the match. Christopher will be picking the man of the match. Here's another one, but he couldn't control it, Liam Boyce. My director has just said, I have a funny feeling there's a goal in Glentoran. You could be right. You could be right, Mr. Director. I think there are more goals in this game.
Yeah, well, certainly Glentoran have started the half really well, and yeah, we've cursed them again.
Boyce. Now there's a break on here for the men in red. The white shirts trying to get back. Glentoran caught out a little bit here. Boyce. Trying to be too clever. Well done, Jason Hill it was. Howland down the line. Waterworth. He needs support. He needs help. It's just out and no more. Well, Tommy will not be over happy the way his side have started the second half. 1-0 lead is nothing in a cup final. Even a 2-0 lead. Other side gets one goal back, then it's back in the mix again. As Chris was saying, the momentum, the psychology, all important. Now, Carson. If anybody can create something, it's him. Eventually falls for McAlorum. Howland. It was blocked. And George McMullan just hoiks it away. Now, Boyce. Well, he tried to release Garrett, but he was never getting there. Have they been lifted in the last few minutes, those Glentoran fans? They may have been.
Yeah, I think they should be, because Glentoran are certainly in the ascendancy. I think final third, they need to have a little bit more quality, but they're getting more opportunities, and if you keep playing and you keep getting the ball into the final third, then something eventually will break.
I'm just looking at Richard Clarke, McAlorum, David Howland. They're doing their best to get forward as well in support of Waterworth.
Yeah, well, they're all higher up the pitch, which is a big thing. You know, it is that if you're playing the game in the other team's half, it allows Clarke to get closer to Waterworth and allows Mark Clarke to push him on, push Richard on, and McAlorum to push Richard Clarke on. So.
The game has just gone into a bit of a lull at the moment. 10 minutes gone in this second half, still 1-0 to the men in red. Elliot Morris, it's a long kick. Smyth was on the end of it. McGovern's header. Sean Ward, Richard Clarke. We've got a Cliftonville flare down. We play on. I'm not quite sure who it is, but here's Carson for Glentoran. It's blocked by the face, I think, of Barry Johnston. No, Carson twisting this way and that. That is not a bad ball. Cliff will deal with it though, and McMullan takes no chances.
Cliftonville players don't appear to be too happy that the ball wasn't kicked out, and I don't really think, you know, it should have been. If it's a head injury, then it's slightly different, but Stephen Garrett, is it? No,
is it McGovern?
McGovern.
Could be Jaimie McGovern. He looks in a bit of distress. Benny Lynch, the Cliftonville physio, on there. Freddie Jardine, I saw him here earlier today, the grand old man who will be 90 later this month. They're a bit younger than Fred Jardine. They're having a good day, the team's in front. But the young man, McGovern, he's made the most starts in the team this year, Jaimie McGovern. He's played 48 times he started. And
I'm not sure whether it's his ankle or it must be his calf, actually, because
he seemed to be holding the calf, didn't he?
That's when I was wondering when he landed whether he rolled his ankle, because it seemed to happen as he came down from that aerial challenge. And
well, they've got Ronan Skinnell on the bench. He's the only defender, really. They've also got Martin Donnelly, Diarmuid O'Carroll, Tomas Cosgrove, Jody Lynch. They're all on the bench.
Yeah. I would imagine it would be Seydack would go into centre half and Skinnell would go to fullback, but just looking at who they've got available, there's no natural centre half to come on.
As Benny Lynch worked his magic, we shall see in a moment.
I don't think he's going to continue. He certainly doesn't look in a great way.
He doesn't look too happy at all. I'm just looking down here. Glentoran have the ball. Referee says play on. Carson gets it in there, and that's away off the head of Eamonn Seydack. Yeah, where we stand seats.
It's O'Carroll, I think, actually. O'Carroll and Caldwell will go in at centre half, obviously. Then they'll put O'Carroll out on the right hand side and drop Caldwell in at centre half.
Yep, Diarmuid O'Carroll is getting ready as that ball comes in. Safe in the arms of Devlin. Cliftonville down to 10 men at the moment. Sadly, McGovern's final seems to have ended. And I think your reading of the situation might be right. Now here's Garrett giving chase. Elliot Morris So a slight disruption to the Cliftonville ranks may give Glentoran a bit of a boost. Johnston, good ball. Find Boyce. McMullan ambling forward. Garrett. Boyce. He wanted the handball, didn't get it. McAlorum. Little nudge there from McMullan. Easily spotted by the referee.
I think Glentoran are too happy the referee took that back for to give the free kick, because they were on the break there and they had options down the right hand side.
So there he is, Diarmuid O'Carroll. 40th appearance of the season, 20 of them now as substitute. Most substitute appearances this season for Cliftonville. And there's the beleaguered Jaimie McGovern.
They've actually put, it looks like, Boyce out onto the right hand side, Jackie. I don't know whether that was just for the kick to be taken, but he was certainly motioning the Boyce to play out on the right hand side, and he didn't appear to be too happy with that instruction, because most of his good work's done up the front.
You did say Caldwell was going back in there. That looks exactly what has happened. Sean Ward gets it forward. Cliftonville are under the cosh a little bit at the moment. Boyce won that well. So did Jason Hill for Glentoran. There's a flick from O'Carroll. Catney drives it forward. Not an easy ball for Garrett to try and deal with. Yeah, I'm trying to see what shape Cliftonville are playing up front at the moment. I think Garrett's gone back to the right hand side. They're going to the right hand side, and Mr. Boyce, here he is, will play central, where he is very dangerous, and he's proving it right at this moment. Liam Boyce, he tried to be too cool, and that's away. That may have gone for the corner. It has.
Great feet in around the box though, Jackie, because I think he just maybe got it through one of the defender's legs and could have clipped it to the back post. Stephen Garrett was coming. I think he just tried to lift it back, or just lift it inside onto his right foot to go for the curling shot in the far corner, but good defending from Jay McGee.
Elliot Morris adjusting his gloves, having plenty to say, organising things in there. Now, will Garrett go for the in-swinger? It's a long ball, it's even too long for Marc Smyth, who is lurking at the back post. And that's a waste of a set piece.
Yeah, overhit, and again, probably the delivery from dead balls today hasn't been great, and maybe the wind is a factor in that. Players seem to be overhitting it.
Is it me, Chris? And I would give credit to Glentoran for this. Have Cliftonville gone into their shell a little bit?
Well, certainly the majority of this half so far, Glentoran have been on the front foot, so I mean, a team will always get a period in the game, and maybe this is Glentoran's. They've got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, they haven't really shown that deadly cutting edge that's required to get the goal, to get them back into this. Coming up to 63 minutes gone, still 1-0 Cliftonville. Long ball. Oh dear, he let it go. Richard Clarke into the middle. There could be danger here. Plenty of white shirts in there. Oh, it's 1H. It's the main man. It's Waterworth. 24th of the season for Andy Waterworth. 4th goal in the Irish Cup, and they're back in this game.
A good finish, Jackie, but Cliftonville will be disappointed. I think it's Marc Smyth lets it bounce in behind him initially, and Richard Clarke hooks it back into the danger area, and once it's in there, it's a case of who it breaks to, and Howland keeps it alive, and it just drops to Waterworth. Another silly book, and take your shirt off and you get booked, but he finished this one really well.
Yeah, it's his first Irish Cup final. It's his 45th appearance, and is it his last of the season for Glentoran? There's Richard Clarke getting it in. Bounces about, it falls for Waterworth, and that's what he does best. He sticks it in the net. We've got a cup final. Waterworth makes it 1-1. We're all square.
Yeah, and we talked Jackie there just with that, how it can change. Goal and momentum suddenly shift. So it'll be interesting just to see how Cliftonville cope with this, because now Glentoran will really start to believe. And
so there we are. Well, it's about 63 minutes, I think, that goal came in. It's 1-1 now.
Yeah, we have a cup final, Jackie.
We have a cup final. We said there would be more goals. We thought there was a goal, and my director said he thought there was a goal in that Glentoran team. What a know-all he's proved it to be. But they are delighted. My director is delighted he got one right for a change. And it's all square. Last time we had extra time only was 12 years ago. Glentoran beat Linfield 1-0, Michael Halliday in 99 minutes. And the last time we had extra time and penalties, that was only 6 years ago. Linfield and Gallen Swifts 2-2. The Blues won it 3-2 on penalties. They are not quiet any longer. They're on their feet and they are enjoying this occasion. The league champions for the moment are reeling. Glentoran earlier this week, yesterday, got almost 3-1. They were 14-5. An enormous price. Well, here come Cliftonville. They will hit back because they've won the league championship this season. They've won the League Cup, and they've won with a swagger and with a lot of talent.
Yeah, I think maybe now calls for something more than just talent and swagger, but a bit of character and a bit of heart. And
O'Carroll, Elliot Morris got a hand to it. Did well, and Glentoran bring it away. But they've given it away. Seydack decides to go forward, and Glentoran now on the break. Howland, Richard Clarke is inside, he wants it. Howland going along. Howland still going, and he'll get the free kick, and that'll be a yellow card.
Scraping a play by David Howland, because he basically has absolutely no support and just keeps going and going, and probably wants to get inside, and I didn't think he was going to be able to get it between the two, Catney and Smyth. But when he does, Catney brings him down. Otherwise, he's going running through towards the goal.
Confirmation there of the yellow card for Catney, and it was Catney with a little trip.
Sorry, I was blaming Marc Smyth there. It was actually Caldwell. So Caldwell and Catney, he was able to get between them, and it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if he got through the other side.
Tell you what, you were right. A Glentoran goal, the momentum has shifted. One section of Windsor Park is buzzing, the Glentoran section. They're looking to go 2-1 up. Now, I think the feathers of Cliftonville have been ruffled for the moment. Everything seems to be dropping for Glentoran at the moment. But that's a poor ball in there by McAlorum, and that will ease the pressure and give Cliftonville a chance to regroup.
Yeah, and that's the times where you just want to keep it alive, and they've been allowed. Eddie can now stand. Look at his body language has changed, Jackie, and before he looked nervous, and Tommy's now the one that doesn't seem to be too happy about what's going on. So
he's exchanging views there with the fourth official.
Yeah, I don't see Tommy like that too often, but then
Mr. Hetherington.
His team don't usually be in this situation, so.
Well, I think he can see that his team haven't really played this season. Martin Donnelly coming on. One of the few men who's played in the cup final, both of them for Crusaders. He won one in 2009, he lost one in 2011. But Donnelly, who's been frustrated, it will be his 18th appearance as a substitute this season. That's why he'll be frustrated. And he's coming on now for his 50th appearance of this campaign.
It's Gormley, is it? I'm guessing it's Oh, Mark Clarke's going off for Glentoran. That's
Mark Clarke's coming off for Glentoran, and number 20 is Jim O'Hanlon, that you suggested, Chris.
Yeah, they're taking one of the defensive midfielders off on a wide man, and they got themselves back into the game, and they're doing that. I fancied it was Joe Gormley who was going to come off for Cliftonville, and it is, because they kind of shoehorned Boyce out onto the left hand side. I think Donnelly coming on will give them a better balance, so it'll be Donnelly on the left and Boyce and O'Carroll up top. So
an embarrassment of riches when you can bring the goal scorer off.
Yeah.
But little Donnelly can weave some magic as well. But this game, Chris, is very much in the balance.
It is, Jackie, and it'll be interesting to see how those substitutions might affect it.
Who will be the hero? Could we have a late winner? As indeed Cliftonville had 34 years ago. It was 2-2, and Marty... It wasn't Marty. I think of Marty Quinn, who was playing that day. Tony Bell, last gasp winner. He's playing bowls today down at Guildford, I believe. Hope you won that, Tony. Your old team are struggling a little bit at the moment. And another man who scored for Cliftonville that day, John Platt. I know he's watching this in London today with his brother Jim, former international goalkeeper. Glentoran. Oh dear, here comes Clarke. They look for the penalty. Nothing doing. Now, Sean Ward, he hits it well! Very well indeed, but what a save that was. Sean Ward almost had his first goal of this cup campaign, and there's another contender for man of the match. Devlin, what a save that was. He really hit this.
Yeah, great save, Jackie.
Well, we've got a man down, Jim O'Hanlon, as we watch that replay. Great effort from Sean Ward. Jim O'Hanlon has gone down.
Yeah, great dribble from him, and set the chance up that Glentoran were asking for a penalty. I think it hit one of the Cliftonville defenders maybe in the chest, but he's obviously been hit after the dribble, and it was a great first bit of play by him, because he created an opportunity, and the end result was Ward's shot that drew a great save from Conor Devlin.
What a great hit it was from Sean Ward. Devlin, what a signing he has been. He's just proved it again. Top class goalkeeping.
Yeah, because that's maybe the difference.
Lovely little run. He gets hit there. Clarke got it. They're looking for the penalty.
I think he's caught him. He's winded, obviously. He got caught just around the stomach, and
George McGill, the physio there. Yeah, it didn't look too severe, the slap from George McMullan, but hey, it's easy for us to sit up here and pass judgment. They're trying to lift their team, and they need lifted at this moment, Cliftonville. Tommy Breslin doesn't do being worried or having a worried look, but I would suggest he might be getting close to that at this stage. More work to do for that man there, perhaps. In comes the corner from Carson. It's away again. Richard Clarke settles for the throw-in. Not a big man, Richard Clarke. Has he a big throw? I've never seen it, I have to say. Drilled across. And that will go for the goal kick. Yeah. Now he looks a bit pensive.
Yeah, I'm just wondering who he's shouting at there, because he seems to be having a go at the assistant.
Yeah. Why would that be?
I've no idea. I think it's possibly in relation to O'Hanlon coming onto the pitch earlier there, is it? From or after getting treatment.
Oh yes, that could be it.
I thought it was clever play, to be honest.
Right, back to the game. We've got 16 minutes left. That's the great thing about football. What will happen, we do not know. Carson trying to make things happen for Glentoran. That's a very good ball, but too close, perhaps to the keeper. And he'll take those crosses all day. Food and drink to Devlin.
And the form he's in this season and today, that's really easy for him.
He could catch a tennis ball.
Yeah.
Seydack. Carl couldn't get to it. Catney. Donnelly just waited. O'Carroll. Good strong play from the striker. Won away by Magee. Waterworth, ever willing. Look at the pace of Waterworth. Tremendous. Marc Smyth recovered very well. McMullan finds Barry Johnston. Glentoran get it back. Howland over on that side of the pitch now. He's worked hard, David Howland.
Yeah, he's a good player. I really like David Howland, and he's having a good game today.
Here's Donnelly being held.
I'm probably glad to get a free kick here, Jack, and just settle the game down a little bit, because they're so good at possession football, but they haven't had any possession. They've taken that quickly, and it's cost them because they've given it away again.
Here's Howland away again on a dribble. This referee deemed Boyce's challenge was fair. And the substitute is in the wars again. I think he's holding the side that he got hurt the first time, is he? Yes, he is. He's not a happy camper at the moment, is he?
He didn't need that challenge.
He's certainly got a little bit of skill, hasn't he?
Well, he's a real direct player. I mean, he'll get it and he'll run. And I'm not sure who they would possibly think of that. Marcus Keane and Richard Gibson. Keane would be the one that could go and play in a wide area, but Howland's so direct, and he's a real old-fashioned winger, a dribbler, and sort of put him in there.
He likes to play ball. O'Hanlon. Now here's Ward, who almost wrote himself into the glory books with that effort. Brilliantly saved, tipped away by Devlin. And then he tips Barry Johnston out of the way unfairly. I can't believe Glentoran would be prepared to let that man leave the oval, but there you go. Ciaran Caldwell. Donnelly. Johnston. Catney. Howland finds McAlorum. He goes left and he's giving Waterworth a little chance. Waterworth, he really covers the ground, doesn't he?
He's great pace, and Glentoran are able to pick the ball up because he works so hard.
Well, that Carson will keep it in. He has indeed. Howland is there. Just couldn't get a clear shot on it.
Great challenge actually by Seydack, because it looked like Howland was just going to bury that in the back of the net, and Carson does really well to pick that up and keep it alive.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 to Seydack. It was an important block. Donnelly. Caldwell. Marc Smyth. Garrett. Donnelly dispossessed. Richard Clarke. Glentoran. More of an order to their play at the moment. Carson flying. He's lifted things out the left there. And Seydack could not take any chances at all. The momentum at the moment, Chris, with the men from the east.
All with Glentoran, and again Howland picked it up in midfield, and a really nice little interchange between Howland and Clarke, and Carson gets away down the left hand side. Three really important players for Glentoran. They're coming to the fore at a really important stage now.
Devlin issuing all the orders. Stephen Carson, 32-year-old, one Northern Ireland cap, takes his time.
It's all about delivery now.
And he can deliver a corner. That is not a bad ball. Boyce of all people had to be back there. Catney waited. Callacher is up there. 2 17s in direct opposition. And we've got the corner flag on the pitch. And McMullan. And here's the run. It was Garrett, but well halted by Sean Ward. Good defending. Marc Smyth won the header. Catney's chest. Johnston helps it on. Referee plays the advantage. Now, Boyce. Garrett is in the middle. O'Carroll is in the middle. Donnelly goes to the far post. Too close to the keeper. Easy for Elliot Morris. Well done, Caldwell. He had to judge that one. Donnelly helps it on. First time, Johnston. Well, there's Howland. He's really stepped up to the mark, Howland, hasn't he? Now, Waterworth. Past Caldwell. Keeper.
Just not enough on the cross, but again, Waterworth just getting 1v1 with Caldwell, and he's so pacey. He gets down the side and just not able to pick a man out.
10 minutes left, just under. Tomas Cosgrove is about to make his entrance, getting instructions from Tommy Breslin at the moment. Cosgrove.
He's a right back, Jackie, so I'm not sure what the change will be.
Well, he can play forward as well. He's got a goal, and the only goal he got this season was against Glentoran.
Stephen Garrett, it is.
Yeah, no, it's a strange one.
It is. It's a strange one for me because he hasn't, I suppose, really been in the game today. But Cosgrove is a fullback essentially, and I'm surprised at that move.
But whatever we think, young Cosgrove is on. 13th appearance as a substitute this season. Will it be lucky for him? Will it be lucky for Tommy Breslin and Cliftonville?
He scored against Glentoran in the league at Solitude, so
he did indeed. Are we heading for extra time? Free kick, Richard Clarke goes to ground. Marc Smyth gave away the free kick. And Cliftonville, I think it's fair to say, look unsettled.
Yeah, they definitely do. And again, I think they need to get the game the extra time, because if it's going to be one at this stage, I can see Glentoran doing it, because they're winning all the first balls and second balls, and they're playing most of the game in Cliftonville's half. And obviously, if they get a goal now, there's not long left. So,
well, talking to the Cliftonville players over the last few weeks, the few who played still remember the hurt of losing the final here 4 years ago. 1-0 it was on the day to Crusaders. Mark Dixon got that goal. They'll not be wanting to feel that hurt again. Carson, dead ball specialist, hasn't scored in the cup this season. Stephen Carson, is he about to change that? He's not, is the answer. Poor effort.
Never looked likely at all, did it?
I'm never sure about a short run.
Yeah, take a 10-yard and absolutely lace it, Jackie. But
put your foot through
it. Yeah, but no, it didn't look like his run up. It didn't convince me on it went high and handsome.
Forward by Seydack. .83 and a half minutes gone. 1-1. It's in the balance. Could there be drama before the 90th minute is out? Could we have a winner? Carson makes the run here. George McMullan having to earn his corn in this second half in particular.
a good challenge, because Carson was looking to get it round onto his right foot and deliver one of those balls that we've seen him doing so many times.
Cross goes in, Smyth with the header, Boyce. But that's where they look uncertain in the second half. They're giving the ball away easily at times, and I'm sure Tommy Breslin is quite angry about that.
It's just that when another team gets on top, the things that come so easy, you don't see Boyce give it away too often, but he does it on that occasion.
Owen goes to Glentoran. Waterworth decides against the quick one. Glentoran fans behind Jason Hill there, quiet at the moment. If anything comes of this, they will be erupting in that grandstand.
They're just trying to work a wee angle here, I think, to get a cross in, and Howland's actually left it here. I'm gonna.
Howland has made his way into the middle. Carson, Jason Hill, Richard Clarke. Dear. I thought that might have caught in the corner there, the way it was going. It was a very good effort from Richard Clarke. Let's see how close it was. They did work a nice little angle here, and he hit it. Well, it's not that close.
No, it's not. But again, they worked the throw-in quite well, because they got a 3v2 on the throw-in, and I'm surprised Cliftonville didn't put another player out, because Glentoran were able to work it into Richard Clarke quite easily, and he's a player who's capable of putting it in the top corner.
Donnelly showed too much of it to Sean Ward. Seydack, O'Carroll, cushioned header, finds Donnelly. Boyce is in the middle, Boyce is there! And just couldn't find a way past Elliot Morris. What a time that would have been, 4 minutes left. But maybe not enough purchase on the cross, so therefore not enough power on the header. Now here's O'Hanlon. Another good run from the young man. Clifton will have to deal with it. O'Hanlon's full of tricks, loves to run with the ball. He's past Caldwell. He's done well again, and the keeper took it under pressure from Andy Waterworth.
Great bit of wing play again, though, wasn't it? Because it's he just gets his head down, he just dribbles.
Catney it is, who's feeling the effects. Could be feeling the effects of a long season as well. It is their 53rd game after all the season, and what a season it's been. And they are trying to lift the players all the time.
Yeah, I think they need to be a bit of a lift at this stage, you know.
They certainly do. Donnelly, pinball machine there. He gets the throw in.
They nearly had that lift though with the Boyce effort, Jackie, because again, just a great bit of movement from him in the box, and I thought that was the moment. I thought he was going to nestle it into the corner.
He just couldn't get the power on it though, to be fair. In by Seydack, all the way across. Cosgrove and Boyce couldn't get there. Marc Smyth has to be careful. Not particularly. Conceded the throw and territory to Glentoran as we move to the dying embers of the 90 minutes. It looks as though we're going to have extra time. Johnston. Boyce won it. Jaimie McGovern got a touch from Carson, I think. Away by Marc Smyth. Oh, that was a handball. Irish Cup's version of the hand of God from Maradona. It was O'Carroll.
don't think it was. I think it was more in his jump than an intentional hand. I think he was certainly trying to make that clear to the referee as well.
Elliot Morris. Is it going to be a good 32nd birthday for Elliot? Good 25th birthday for Jaimie McGovern of Glentoran? They've certainly looked like it in this second half, but it's still 1-1. Carson. Howland goes right, or goes left, sorry. Richard Clarke, lovely little turn. Clarke, here's O'Hanlon. Couldn't find the target. That would have been drama right at the death. But it was not to be.
Yeah, it was wasn't it the worst chance to get in the 89th or 90th minute, because right on the edge of the box, it was well worked again. Howland breaking up with play and giving it to Clarke. That sort of little axis between Howland and Clarke has been very, very good.
We have 4 minutes to be added on, so that's plenty of time. 4 minutes. Callacher and O'Carroll getting up, back on their feet. Well, 6 years since we've had extra time in an Irish Cup final. That day it went to penalties with Dungannon Swifts and Linfield. But will we get there? What a good kick from Jaimie McGovern. Johnston was saying this week that Ian Ryan Catney didn't really turn up, didn't play in the final 4 years ago. In many ways Cliftonville haven't performed to their optimum today, and I think that's fair to say that. And that's the disappointment for them and for Tommy Breslin. Glentoran, huge underdogs, have come here and they've worked hard, they've worked their socks off, they've got tight to Cliftonville, they've closed them down, and they are within a whisker of walking away with the trophy.
I wonder if Magee did scoring first maybe be detrimental to Cliftonville, because nearly just that the game's done here, you know, everybody expects them to win it.
Yeah, never they expected just to go on with steamroller and became that little bit complacent. I think we mentioned that word earlier this afternoon, Chris. Well won by Caldwell, the stand-in centre half. There he is again with the header. Cosgrove, who likes to get forward. He does play full back, he can play wing as well. He's got the throw in. Jason Hill is angry about the decision from the linesman.
Cliftonville will just be looking to get this into the box now and see if they can muster one last chance before extra time.
Yeah, we're 2.5 minutes into the 4 minutes added on in this Marie Curie Irish Cup final of 2013. I don't think we can name a man of the match just yet, Chris. Now, here we come. Is there drama right at the end? Farry Johnston, it's blocked. Glentoran get it away. Caldwell, well, he's given it away. Andy Waterworth. Glentoran players struggling to get up there and support. He's got a free kick. This could be danger right at the death. And that looks like Marc Smyth.
Once again, Waterworth just turning a nothing ball forward, and just with sheer perseverance and then pace. I wonder, was he going to get his head up and get O'Hanlon away on the right hand side, but Smyth just pulls him back and fouls him, and where are we, 30 seconds to go.
Yeah. The birthday boy cannot look. No. Does that look like Callacher who's going to take it?
It is Callacher, yeah.
The number 17.
Scored a free kick against Cliftonville this season.
Is he going to be the hero right at the death? The last kick of the ball. He's not. It's straight into the arms of the keeper, although he hit it well and he found the target, but he also found the arms, the midriff of Conor Devlin. And that should near enough be that before we head to extra time. Boyce can't keep it in. There we are. It's all over. A little bit of despair there showing for Tommy Breslin. And there's the man who's taken us into extra time. A good strike in the end by Andy Waterworth. 24th goal of the season, his 4th of this cup campaign. And his deadlock, Chris, in the Irish Cup final.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, at half time Glentoran would have taken extra time. Cliftonville will be disappointed. They didn't really play second half and allowed Glentoran to get on the front foot, and we could see a goal was coming.
Yeah, and come it did. 1-1. Let's get back to you and the boys in the studio, Stephen.
Thank you very much, Jackie. The Northern Ireland manager Michael O'Neill and the Crusaders manager Stephen Baxter are our guests this afternoon. Michael, role reversal, second half completely.
Yeah, totally different second half. Credit Glentoran, you know, they really did increase the tempo of the game. Cliftonville just had no impact on the game at all, you know, no second ball. They lost Gormley to the injury by the looks of it, the substitution, but there was only one team that was really going to win the game in 90 minutes, and that looked like Glentoran. Deserved equaliser through Waterworth, and it'll be interesting to see now, because Tommy's got to get them refocused now for the first half of extra time.
So much more urgency with that Glentoran team second half, Stephen.
Oh, it's amazing, what a turnaround. They were lively start to finish in the 45 minutes. You know, Cliftonville look a little bit out on their feet. We're looking around, Tommy's trying to drag something out of them, but Glentoran was just one-way traffic, and Waterworth, his willingness to run into the gaps has given them no end of trouble. And I thought in Carson and Howland, then Howland moved inside, and young O'Hanlon who came on, such an impact, and they've been fabulous, you know, so it only looked like one winner, you know, in the second half.
It's amazing how the psychology changed very quickly, isn't it?
It does, you know, it's everything, you know. The momentum was all with Glentoran at the minute. They've only made one substitution as well, which, so Eddie's got a couple of options still if he needs to freshen it up. Cliftonville do look very, very tired, I have to say, in the second half. You know, the one little chance for Liam Boyce with a header towards the end, but they just didn't get to play in Glentoran's half at all, which was just exactly the role reversal of what we saw in the first half. So I think the toss is going to be important to see who plays in what direction come extra time here.
If you're just joining us this evening late, deadlock in the Irish Cup final. It's gone to extra time. It's 1-1 between Cliftonville and Glentoran. It was Cliftonville who scored first. They took the lead in the first half. A fantastic goal, this one by Joe Gormley.
Yeah, it was wonderful movement from the two centre forwards, and as I say, Gormley gets on to the end of it. A nice ball over the top of his head, and he finishes it very, very calmly. And as I say, in that first half, they just looked, you know, they were nearly invincible. We were looking for an extra couple of goals, but then, you know, Glentoran got back onto the front foot. Howland does brilliantly here, contests it, gets it back inside, and there's that man Waterworth, who's been such a live wire second half, getting his just rewards with a nice goal.
Yeah, Waterworth's goal to bring Glentoran back into the game, his work rate has been very impressive, Michael.
Yeah, he's probably been the pick of I think all the players on the pitch for Glentoran. He was the only real threat in the first half, and second half, you know, he's such a willing runner. The work rate he's put in for his team, you can see already, I think that Marc Smyth's been booked. I'm not sure if Caldwell's been booked as well, so they're struggling to deal with him, and it'd be a big threat in the second half, particularly the game gets stretched and body started to get tired. He looks like he's fresh and he can run all day, and he's been immense today.
Okay, let's hear the thoughts of Tim McCann.
Tim, the boys just talking about body language there, and you're making the point, the observation, concurrence with what's been said in the studio, that you reckon that the Reds would take penalties right now. They do look to be out on their feet. Yeah,
they look dead on their feet. There's something missing in the Cliftonville team. Maybe it's been too much, one step too far for them. There's been a totally different attitude in the Glentoran players. Everything about them, they're first to the ball, they're winning headers, they're strong in the tackle. At the minute, it's all one-way traffic, and the longer this game goes on, advantage Glentoran.
Eddie Patterson has just played the one card in terms of subs, but what a change O'Hanlon really has been scintillating. Jim O'Hanlon's magnificent. They call him Jinky Jim. He's all the skill in the world, and especially now, you know, in extra time, when the Cliftonville players are leggy, if they get the ball to O'Hanlon, he can turn this game on its head. Could it go to penalties? I think no, I don't. I think Glentoran will win. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Your prediction, second half, who do you fancy now?
Well, sometimes the break comes at the wrong time. For Glentoran, they look like they were well on top. If they start well here, they'll go on to win this. But Cliftonville, I think, will regroup a little bit here because they couldn't play as badly in the extra time as they did in the second half.
Michael?
See, I agree. I think Cliftonville they'll have to lift themselves. There's too much at stake for them not to raise their game, and it's still anyone's game at this minute in time.
Okay, we've got another thrilling half an hour of extra time in this Irish Cup final. Let's go back to Chris and Jackie.
Thank you, Stephen. Some interesting words there from the chaps. Jinky Jim O'Hanlon. He's certainly made an impact since he came on. We have half an hour. Tim McCann, very opinionated. And he thinks that we will get a goal in extra time to settle it. He thinks he may be right. He says Glentoran, they're certainly in the driving seat at the moment, but do not write off the men in red. They have come too far this season to give up too easily. Well, having said that, Cliftonville have now used all of their 3 substitutes that they're allowed to. Boyce kept battling. Still Boyce shrugging off a defender and then gives a poor ball.
Yeah, he's having a go at Marty Donnelly to make that run towards the far post. I don't think it would have made any difference if he had made his run because he was never going to catch that. But just picking up from Michael O'Neill's point at half time there, just Glentoran have obviously won the toss and decided to play with that wind again, so it was such a factor in getting them back into the game, I felt, because the second half they dominated it, so it'll be interesting to see if they can go on and make that count.
Yeah, here's Carson, shrugged out of it by Cosgrove. Glentoran get it back. Callacher back to his keeper. Catney gets it forward. Boyce. It's all a bit scrappy at the moment. But there's a lot of tension out there. There's a cup to be won. There are winners' medals to be picked up. Richard Clarke. Waterworth barging his way through. Still Waterworth. Here comes Sean Ward. Chips it into the middle, too far. Richard Clarke up there. Stephen Carson was lurking. Not a good ball. And Eddie, well, he'll be well pleased the way they have stepped up to the plate in the second half of this game.
Yeah, I think he'd be more than pleased. At half time, I'm sure he had a lot to say, but whatever he said in that dressing room, they came out and they dominated the second half and got themselves right back into the cup final. Possibly could have won it in 90 minutes, but it's nearly like starting again at extra time. It is obviously, but any momentum that they had, suddenly, the break changes that.
Saw a shot there too of they've just broken up. Tommy Breslin seems preoccupied talking to the fourth official, Raymond Hetherington, as Boyce goes to ground and gets the free kick. Cliftonville would like Jason Hill to be booked, who's already been booked. And another booking would see him walking. I think he's keeping his cards in his pockets. Much better than a final. It's well, he knew what he was doing, but it's not overly aggressive. We don't want to see anybody sent off in a cup final. Hard to believe it's 1983 30th anniversary of Jim Cleary being sent off as Boyce walks away in great pain. It's young Donnelly with the tried and tested magic wand of a left foot. Boyce and company in the middle. Donnelly, I think he'll go for it. He does go for it. Doesn't find it. In the end, that has to go down as a poor effort from young Martin.
I actually wondered was going to sneak in, Jackie, to be honest, but I think Elliot Morris probably had it covered, did he?
Well, maybe a poor effort was being a bit harsh on him, but but you've got to hit the target.
Yeah, well, I suppose Elliot pulls his arms away. It's
Richard Clarke. Jason Hill gets it in. And they get a free kick.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what the linesman was right beside it and can't pick it up, but it's a clear foul.
Nothing given there. O'Carroll is quite angry. It was big Jimmy Callacher involved. It certainly looked a free kick. Well, here's Jinky Jim, as Tim McCann called him, and there he goes again. He's certainly lifted things, hasn't he? Here's Howland. No, it's blocked. It's away for the corner. It's off McMullan. He has caused a few problems today. That's Howland. He's done well. He's had a good game, David Howland, but O'Hanlon has really lifted the ship, hasn't he?
Yeah, O'Hanlon's super again, and Howland picks up a good position. I thought it was going to hit the corner of the net.
In comes the corner. Glentoran have it, but the foul was on Marc Smyth. I think it was Howland who gave it away. Coming up to 6 minutes gone of the first half of extra time. And Boyce seems to be in a little bit of trouble, which is not good news, considering that Cliftonville have used all of their substitutes. You just have to stick it out.
Yeah,
as they say in my part of the world, thole it.
I think he's going to have to thole it while he can get through this, if that's the right term, Jackie, because...
you said that well.
Did I? Yeah.
Here comes Cliftonville. All the way through for Cosgrove. O'Carroll. Oh, it's a good ball. Donnelly! Great save from the birthday boy. He was so unlucky. He was excellent. And the Cliftonville fans are up for it after that. They were so close to a winner, or what could potentially be a winner. Great goalkeeping, Elliot Morris. In comes the corner. That would have lifted Cliftonville. And that take from Morris will have calmed down the hearts of Glentoran. O'Carroll, he did so well. Look at that, he hit it well. Great reflexes. Top goalkeeping. He can't believe it.
Yeah, he's had a good... I mean, Elliot probably hasn't had to do too much today, but when you think of the save early on from Gormley that ended up resulting in a goal, and that save there, I mean, the few things he's had to do, he's been in top form.
Yeah, Elliot Morris, most starts this year for the club, 43 appearances, all of them starts. 32-year-old showing all of his class and experience on a couple of occasions today. Now, Callacher it was. George McMullan. Well, the yellow cards are mounting up. We'll have to do a quick adding up. George got one there, did he?
Yeah, and
so that's George, Smith, Barry Johnston, Gormley, Catney. Could have played the advantage, couldn't he?
Yeah, I think the advantage would have been preferable.
Here comes the free kick. Oh, Callacher's free! Callacher may have got the winner for Glentoran. What a finish! Where was the marking? The inquest already started in that Cliftonville defence. They do not care a jot about that. Look at the delight in the North Stand. And there's the delight of Jimmy Callacher. He got one in the 6th round in the win over Bangor. That's his 2nd Irish Cup goal, and that one could win the trophy.
Yeah, great finish, and Cliftonville are debating who should have picked him up, and great delivery in from Carson, the sort of delivery we expect from him, and right into a really dangerous area. Callacher goes and attacks it. Good connection into the top corner.
Well, would you believe it's nearly 99 minutes where that finish went in? And that's 99 minutes when Michael Halliday got an extra time winner against Linfield all those years ago. What a finish it was. The keeper had no chance. Callacher is the hero. What a turn-up. The huge favourites, Cliftonville, are struggling. The grasp on a League and Cup double. The grasp on a treble, including the League Cup. Well, has it gone?
Now's the time, Jackie, for the players to stand up and really grasp it, because
here's Jinky Jim. Sorry to interrupt you. Jim O'Hanlon. Sean Ward will not catch that. But my goodness, what a turnaround it has been since half-time in this game. Glentoran fought their way, worked their way back into it, and they've made it pay off big time. Look at the space here. Cliftonville, for the moment, are ragged. They are. They're out on their feet. They're tired. They don't know what's hit them either. Great.
Sorry, Jackie. No, I was going to say they look like a beaten side almost. I know there's still 20 minutes more or less to go, but they...
Now here's Waterworth. Still Waterworth. Oh, it's 3-1. He's got a double. Andy Waterworth, the man who may not be with the club next season, has put Glentoran into dreamland in extra time in this Marie Curie Irish Cup final. Eddie Patterson, his first trophy, is within grasp, and at the end of what has been a financially troubling season, well, it's all about to come right. Unbelievable, Chris.
Yeah, it is, and I think looking at some of the pictures down there, they look as if they're starting to believe, because it's a great goal. I mean, they win the ball high up the pitch again. Waterworth just as cool as you like, and just slams it into the bottom corner. So, I mean, we were saying Cliftonville look a beaten team, and Glentoran have really grasped it, and they're pushing. We talked at half-time, I think, Jackie, could Cliftonville maybe go on and win, 2-3-4-0? Who would argue now about that going the other way? Glentoran scoring 3-4-5, because...
Oh, goodness. Football, eh? Last player to get two in an Irish Cup final was Mark McAllister last year. A 4-1 win for Linfield over Crusaders.
Last hat-trick was a while ago, Jackie.
Oh, that was Billy McAvoy.
Yeah.
Without looking at my notes, I think that was what, 1969? Yes, 1969. Billy McAvoy got all four goals. Ards Ford is still read two in a replay. Dear, dear, dear. Despair. Despair. On the cusp of history, and it's been taken away. Well, there's more trouble here. There's another free kick. Caldwell about to get a card. Another Cliftonville man goes in the book.
It's just as well he fouled him, because if he didn't foul him, I think there was another goal coming, and whether it was Waterworth or whether he was able to find O'Hanlon, I think, on the right hand side, I think the goal was coming. But Glentoran are now just playing with so much confidence. See Clarke, he just destroys Caldwell there. And
Caldwell, the sixth Cliftonville player to be booked today. Where did it all go wrong? The inquest has started in the grandstands, not with those fans of Glentoran. East Belfast will be buzzing tonight, without question. There's Waterworth, 2 goals in the cup final. What an effort that was from Callacher.
That's all down to confidence, Jackie, because I mean, he's absolutely smashed that. It looked like it was, if it was a foot lower.
You remember his goal. He's getting greedy. He's looking for 2, and he was close. Well, now, I have to remind you that you're picking man of the match, Chris.
It's becoming even more difficult as this game goes on, because
it certainly is.
There's so many players that have played well for Glentoran today, and we're making the assumption that they're going to push on here, but unless Cliftonville can get a goal quickly to give themselves a fighting chance, I don't see anything other than Glentoran going on a minute.
No Glentoran player has scored a hat-trick this season. Andy Waterworth is the only man to have hit 2 in a game. 4 times he got 2 in a game in the league, and one of those times was against Cliftonville at the Oval in April in the 3-0 win. And here he is against Cliftonville today, dare I say it, on a much bigger stage. And the cup is on its way to the Oval, surely, unless there's a dramatic turnaround. And Boyce is obviously hurting. He's holding that shoulder. He's played it forward, and Carl gives chase. Oh, Jason Hill. Well, the flag was up, but Jason Hill, I think, seemed to pull a hamstring there, Chris, in that little run. Didn't look happier. Maybe it's a cramp.
Yeah,
it's cramp. It's cramp. Yeah, he's pulling the toe up.
He's getting to that age, Jackie, where 105 minutes in, he's starting to feel the pace.
I thought you were saying he was a 105-year-old.
Yeah, not quite.
In fact, that young man Hill is 31 years of age. He's been a great servant.
I thought he might have been a little bit older than 31.
Well, you said that, I didn't.
See, I played with him, so that's my excuse.
Free kick for Cliftonville. They do need something just before the end of this first half of extra time. Look at those Glentoran fans in the background. Absolute delight after the season they've endured. Players not being paid and all that sort of thing going on. Too easy there from George McMullan. You can see the disappointment etched in the faces of the Cliftonville players. It was 1-1 after 90. Callacher and then Waterworth again. They've made it 3-1 to Glentoran. Keep your head, lads, he's saying. It's all falling apart. Only sadness, dejection in the faces of the Cliftonville supporters. And we have more work being done on Boyce that looks painful. But they have no more substitutions to make. That's the reality, as the referee will turn them around quickly. It's hard to believe that a club like Glentoran haven't won the Irish Cup since 2004. They'll not be worrying about the history, they're just worried about today. They came here as underdogs. They came here really with hope in their hearts. It could be much more than that. And I would all be for hyping up the character and commitment of Cliftonville as a team this year, apart from their talent, but they do look a tired outfit at the moment, Chris.
Yeah, they do. They look beaten, and I mean, it's a difficult thing to get yourself back into a match at this stage, because everything is going for Glentoran and they're playing full of confidence. They're winning the first ball, they're winning the second ball, and Cliftonville can't dig themselves out of the hole they're in, and probably a long hard season, and players are tired now, and it's just getting away from them, isn't it, Jackie?
Yeah, and perhaps it was written in the stars for Glentoran. They've endured so much this year as a club, this great club so close to going out of business, financial woes which have been well chronicled, players not being paid on time, that sort of thing. And I saw Terence Brannigan, the chairman, who's come in to try and stabilise things in the last couple of years. I said, you enjoy your day. He said, I'm trying to, but I'm so nervous. So I know what he meant, but this will mean so much if they go on to lift this trophy. Nothing likely to be given there, despite the yells from the Glentoran fans. Seydack. And Boyce, well, he doesn't really want to be involved. He's obviously in great pain with that shoulder. And that's all Cliftonville would need at this stage, where they're up against it. And all the dreams and all the planned celebrations have to take a back seat. Clarke, oh dear. Well, It was all a bit lackadaisical.
Andy Waterworth had his hat-trick in his eyes there. I'm really surprised at Richard Clarke.
Well,
it's normally so good in those situations.
I'm glad to see that happening. The man in your picture coming on to win, well, not to win, to play his 794th game, the 34-year-old, 794th and last game. Contract is not being renewed. It's his 65th Irish Cup tie, counting finals, and this will be his 8th final. He won 5, he lost 2. He won 2 of those as a skipper. He has been, over 16 years, a tremendous servant to Glentoran and a tremendous ambassador and role model for young people, followers of local football. He deserves all the plaudits going, this Colin Nixon, and I'm so pleased that Eddie Patterson is giving him this last chance to acknowledge the crowd's applause, and he's had a lot of that over the years. And when you hear the noise of this, Jason Hill coming off past the badge, yeah, I think he still has well, it's a little bit of crumb, and he will limp off rather slowly to ease the time away. Big day for Jason as well, his first ever Irish Cup final. There might be a cheer here for Nixon. And welcome for a hero, much deserved.
Yeah, I think it's fitting, Jackie, that he's going to make an appearance here. I don't think anybody would want to deny him that, and it's nice to see that he's on the park.
Yeah, Colin Nixon. '65th Irish Cup tie. That's a lot of cup ties.
Yeah, there's 5 winners' medals and
5 winners,
possibly
yeah.
another one now.
And he will get another one. And he's looking busy as Glentoran defend this corner. And by McMullan, Elliot Morris thought about coming, changed his mind. Glentoran on the burst. Waterworth was fortunate. Now there's a break on here. Cliftonville are well caught out. Richard Clarke. Well, perhaps Waterworth. Howland inside, might have wanted it inside. He hit it wide of the post though. Richard Clarke looking for his slice of the glory. Maybe the wrong option, Chris.
Totally wrong option, Jackie, because you'd what, 3, maybe 4 against one defender. He could have taken his time and just slid it inside, and
could have taken it in a bit too, couldn't he?
Yeah, it's 2 opportunities probably Richard's wasted now in the last few minutes just to really kill this game.
Marcus Kane is on as well for Glentoran. Boyce playing with one arm at the moment. He's really a passenger, sadly to say. Here's Jim O'Hanlon. He almost did it. Seydack. Donnelly. I'm not too sure that many would have seen the outcome of this as clear cut as it was. Here's Howland. Richard Clarke, Waterworth. It was all a bit too pedestrian. And Barry Johnston not happy, and he had a little stump, had he, at Richard Clarke, and there's hands up. Now that's not what we want to see. Now Richard Clarke has not been booked, and the other man with his hands up there was Caldwell, who's been booked.
I think Johnston possibly stamped on him as well, Jackie.
Yeah, well, I think that's what started it all. There's a little stamp from Barry Johnston. So if the referee talks to the linesman, I'm sure they're communicating through their headsets and their microphones. But I think Caldwell could be in trouble here. Now let's see this again. Well, I'm not sure, but he's annoyed anyway. And there's a red card, straight red card, and a straight red card for Richard Clarke. A double sending off. 30 years since we've had a player sent off, and now, after Jim Cleary in 1883, we have 2 players sent off right at the death of this 2013 decider. Richard Clarke is off for Glentoran, and Ciaran Caldwell is off for Cliftonville. Caldwell disgusted. He'll be so frustrated at losing the final, but being sent off as well. And Clarke has just realised that he has got to leave the stadium as well.
I think it's a terrible decision, Jack. I don't know how Richard Clarke gets sent off there, because to me it looks like he's caught and Johnston's got away with it, and I think he's the person that starts it. That's a stamp, and he knows what he's doing, in my opinion.
Well, Richard Clarke and Caldwell both raised their hands, Chris. Not allowed to do that.
Yeah, I think, though, to be honest, Caldwell gets himself involved in something that I don't know why he does it. I mean, he has a go at Richard Clarke, and I'm not sure why he does, because Clarke's clearly stood on.
Yep.
I feel sorry for him. You're right. He's raised his arms, but it looks to me like he's harshly done by.
And there's Johnston, competitive as ever, and all their frustration is coming to the surface.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one of my pet hates, though. You know, teams taking in, there's still 7 minutes to play here, taking it into the corner. That's just inviting more trouble.
Yeah, I don't like that business either. Well, Chris, it's got to that time, and there's a picture of Andy Waterworth, a close-up. He might be a contender.
Yeah, he's a contender, along with, I suppose, looking at Cliftonville, Conor Devlin, we've got to mention him. He's probably the one player from Cliftonville today that's been
lived up to his image.
Yeah, to his billing, and they haven't really had too many others that have performed. But you look at the Glentoran team from half-time onwards. O'Hanlon, who's just got challenged there, hasn't played that long in the game, but his performance has been right up there.
Big impact.
Yeah. Howland and Clarke, I think, were superb in the middle of the park, along with McAlorum. Defensively, they've been strong, but with 2 goals in a final, I think it has to go to Andy Waterworth, because it was his goal that got him back in. And you think the amount of times he ran the channels and caused them problems and created things out of nothing, and getting the goal to get them back into the game was so crucial. And then to get the third to make it 3-1 and really kill the game, I feel, you know, he just shades David Howland for me today, and it's down to the 2 goals.
Yeah. So Andy Waterworth is the man of the match, and will those 2 goals and being a cup final hero help him to look at the Glentoran offer of a new contract more closely to stay with the club, or will he be off to pastures new? The grapevine suggests he will be moving, but at least he's left Glentoran on a high. And what a high it will be for East Belfast. Four and a half minutes left. Well, that sums it up, doesn't it? At the start of the game, you might not have thought that, but at 3-1, with a few minutes left, simply the best. And there's no sign of Tina Turner to sing it. Waterworth won the header. Here's McMullan. And there's no zip about Cliftonville at this stage. And sadly, Boyce cannot really move too well. They're basically playing with 10 men, and they're trailing by 3-1, as Jaimie McGovern will just blast it away. Hit it into the crowd. That will do at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's playing out time now, isn't it? Because Cliftonville just don't. It doesn't look as if there's any fight in them, and that's no criticism. They've had a great season. It's disappointing to see them losing in this manner, because they've been so good, but it looks just too far for them at this stage. Glentoran scoring those 2 quick goals, I think, has just killed the game.
Yeah, 2 goals in 2 minutes to make it 2-1 and then 3-1. And he was the man of the moment, Andy Waterworth. Just about 3 minutes left. Elliot Morris went late. Boyce. That's a good ball into the middle. But O'Carroll can't get a telling touch on it. It's been that sort of day for a dejected Cliftonville.
Yeah, and they just, you know, if it was to happen, they needed that to be you know, to get a goal from there, and you would see how the game would change, because suddenly Glentoran would get nervous and Clifton would start to believe, but it just didn't happen. And it flicked up at the far post. O'Carroll just couldn't get any direction on the header.
Well, Boyce, got a doleful figure there. He's had a magnificent season. English clubs, Scottish clubs, circulating, 36 goals, Ulster Player of the Year as well, just named. I would think he could well be the Football Writers Player of the Year, and I don't know at this stage. The dinner is on Monday night. He would be my choice. Cliftonville still trying to come forward. We're inside the last 2 minutes. Boyce, even with one arm, does well. In goes the cross. Elliot Morris grabs it, and it will be quite a birthday celebration for the Glentoran custodian this evening, and Jay McGee. Elliot turning 32 today. McGee is 25, but they don't need a birthday as an excuse to celebrate tonight.
No, definitely not. And I didn't mention Elliot there in the sort of roundup of potential man of the matches, and they think of the save from Martin Donnelly at 1-1, where you know they score then, and it's a different match, you know. So he didn't have much to do on the day, let's be honest. But when he was called upon, that big save, that could have been the turning point in the whole game.
No, he's a good keeper. He's proved it over the years, and he's had a good testimonial year, I've heard, and why not? Great service in this day and age. 11 years at the club now. Donnelly. Cliftonville at this stage, we're in the last minutes, playing out time. Donnelly, a goal back at this stage would be too little too late, I would assume. Here's Carson. He's played in the cup final before, but he lost it. The 32-year-old just about to pick up his first winner's medal. Sean Ward has played in a final before. He lost that in 2006. You were right, Chris, earlier today. You said Elliot Morris, the only man on the team to have won a medal. That was in 04, and then they lost in 06. O'Carroll gets it in. Well, just didn't fall properly for Donnelly, and that should be it. The whistles coming from the Glentoran supporters. I think 1 minute has been added on. Waterworth away. The hat trick is on. First hat trick. For 42 years it was there for him. He couldn't take it. Billy McAvoy's long-standing record is secure. 44 years, in fact. Let me get the arithmetic right. There he is, one-on-one. Devlin, once again, one of your contenders for man of the match, quite rightly so, has denied Andy Waterworth, finishing on a real high with an Irish Cup final hat-trick. Nixon won the header. There's a little bit of pushing though, and I think this could well be the last kick of the game. There we are. Absolute delight for Eddie Patterson. He was brought into Glentoran to do a job 14 months ago, and he has done it. Paul Traynor, the coach, one of the coaches, lifts him into the air. Total delight for Glentoran, and equally total despair for Cliftonville. There's Radio Ulster in there, Grant Cameron, one of my BBC colleagues. They said our days were over. They're not over. The fat lady is singing. will mean so much to so many people. Caldwell sent off, losing side. Tommy Breslin, League and Cup double taken away from them, a treble taken away from them, but I take it with good grace, knowing the man. Well, he left Cliftonville after 6 years service, and what a job he's done. There's only, well, forlorn looks. You can't explain a moment like that when you've lost a cup final, when you're big favourites and you lose it, and you lose it badly by 3 goals to 1, Chris. An awful feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing they can take out of it, they'll reflect on the positive. But the Glentoran fans are going to, I mean, that's the reward I feel for Glentoran. You know, the fans that have stuck by them this year, and the players that have stuck by the club. Huge reward for the fans and the players, because they've went through a lot.
Thank you, Chris. We can hear from the man of the match, Andy Waterworth. He's with Mark Sidebottom.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Just before that, there is the formality. I'll ask the Northern Ireland manager to hand over the man of the match award to Andy. Michael, he's a fitting recipient.
Yeah, great performance from Andy. You know, I felt certainly second half he galvanised his team. Not only the 2 goals, but his work rate throughout the game, and you know, it was a big factor in Glentoran winning today.
And it was enjoyable, Michael, as a neutral, if you can say that as an excellent Glentoran player.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was a great game, to be fair. You know, Cliftonville were the best team in the first half, no doubt about that. Glentoran galvanised themselves, and as I say, ran out deserved winners in extra time.
Andy, the cup, the man of the match, sum it up.
I know, that's what I was saying before there. I'm absolutely delighted, because all week there had a virus, I didn't matter to play or not, and came down to today. I'm just so glad I chose to play. And again, first half, Michael says, we were struggled at the end of the game, and then I think we got our goal, it sort of turned for us, and I think we reserved the winners at the end. But again, team effort, absolutely outstanding, and from the goalkeeper to me.
We can take a look at the goals, but tell me what was said at half time. And I know that's a cliched question, but Cliftonville had bossed the first half. Second half, you came out a team transformed.
I know, I think Eddie just sort of said this, that there could be 5 or 6 was coming off if he could, and that he says someone's having to come out. He says maybe it's occasions, maybe hitches or not, but he says we've got to start playing. If we start playing on passing, he says we'll get one, and if we did, and from then I think we'll actually look good for it. And I think in Davy Howland there in the centre, he was absolutely outstanding, and I'm just so happy, because I watched this match all the time when I was younger, and to actually playing it and scoring it, and then obviously get the man of the match, like I'm delighted.
You got 2 in the league against Cliftonville earlier this season. There hasn't been a hat-trick in an Irish Cup final for 44 years. And Conor Devlin, and I saw you give him a lovely little tap on the backside in acknowledgement. It was an outstanding save, but you must have thought you had the hat-trick.
I know that. It's something hit me this year. I just can't get hat-tricks so many times, and again, it's a part of the game, and I'm one-on-one with the keeper, I need to improve on, but at the end of the day, I'm sort of going to put it aside for now and just enjoy today, because I mean, I feel very lucky, and I'm privileged to be scoring the goals in cup finals. So
I hope you'll forgive me for asking this, so I will apologise in advance. There's so much chitter in cyberspace, so much talk about Andy Waterworth. Is he on his way? Jackie's been making the point in commentary. What can you tell Glentoran fans?
I don't know. I mean, in January the club more or less said we're struggling financially and maybe to look elsewhere, and now they've sort of come round and things seem to be secure enough. But again, I'm going to sit down with my family and I'll look where to go next year. After now, I'm going to enjoy today, all day Sunday, all day Monday, all day Tuesday, and then I'll maybe start thinking about football next season then.
So maybe on the move, and we appreciate you can't talk about that, but one final question before you go singing and dancing there. The year that Glentoran has had, wages late, wages unpaid, wages not paid, crisis upon crisis, and here you are at the end of this season, winners of the cup. Sum that one up.
No, actually it hasn't even hit me yet. You know, I remember last year sitting at the Oval, beat by Newington, an amateur league team, and we're coming off the pitch and let down supporters. It was very embarrassing for us, and it was very hard to swallow. And there you are, one season you're down, next season you're up, and again I'm just extremely delighted to be given the man of the match and actually go and get our hands on this trophy now. So
well done, you're a worthy winner.
Andy Waterworth and his team, no doubt, will not only celebrate Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday and beyond. Stephen Baxter, what a transformation by Glentoran after they were completely outfoxed first half.
Well, whatever Eddie Patterson and his management said at half-time done the trick, because I tell you, they were a different team what we watched in the first half. They were bright from the first 45 minutes, or sorry, the second 45 minutes, but then they carried that on into the extra time period, because they just steamrolled Cliftonville, and Cliftonville were out on their feet, and they may have scored 2 or 3 or 4 more goals in that period of time. So exceptionally well done to them. They deserved it. They were the team that was hungry. I watched their body language in the period before the extra time, and every one day man was cheering each other on, galvanising each other for another really good lash at it. I think they knew they had them on the ropes, and boy did they polish them off. It was a great performance from them. I thought Andy Waterworth's performance today was simply stunning. He run the channels all day, he got in behind people, he worked their back four on his own at times, and then second half they were all out on their feet trying to chase him. Well done to him.
Michael, after everything Glentoran as a club have been through this season, with all of those well documented financial problems, to come here and win all of their games away from home in the Cup this season, it's quite an achievement, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, that in itself, it shows the character that's obviously in the team. I think Eddie deserves a lot of credit, because we talked at half time about how we would change it, and think he didn't do anything. He was patient, to be fair to him. He trusted his players, he trusted whatever he said to them would galvanise them, and it certainly did. And you know, the introduction of Jim O'Hanlon certainly was a big factor in the game for them. And Andy Waterworth, as we've talked about, was magnificent. But Glentoran just, you know, played with a freedom and a belief that they didn't have in the first period of the game. And when it came to the crunch, Cliftonville struggled to deal with that. They looked a tired team at the end of the season. It was a great game, you know, and you have to, you know, I think it was a big scalp for Glentoran today to come here and beat Cliftonville, and you know, that's credit to the, you know, the season Cliftonville have had as well.
Well, the Irish Cup is on its way out into the presentation area, but before the honours, let's get some more reaction with Marc.
Elliot Morris, the captain, and Magee, the birthday boy, and the team manager. Elliot, the first thing you dropped all day, I think, was your little boy Leo here. You're saying your arms are sore. Sum this up for me.
It's unbelievable. No one gave us a chance today. It was we were coming along just to congratulate Cliftonville on their treble, but I tell you what, since we get through to the final, we've been looking forward to this. I think we're the only people that thought we'd come here today and beat them. And I tell you what, did them a half.
At 1-1, early into the first half of extra time, Marty Donnelly hits the ball as sweet as a nut. You probably have less than a split second to react. At that point, do you think this might well be our day?
I couldn't really see it. There was like 3 or 4 in front of me, and I was just happy that it was close enough to get a touch and get it over the bar. So as soon as I saved it, went up and got the goal and make it 2-1. So it was a crucial save at the time.
Little Leo's a bit overwhelmed, and I know it's very, very important. You want to look down the lens and say hello to another little boy of yours, Ashton, who's sick today and is watching on the telly.
Yes, Ashton's couldn't make it today. He's in the house sick. So hello, Ashton. He said hello.
Leo, did Daddy do well today, Leo?
He's in the TV. He's looking over there.
He's a bit overwhelmed. Eddie, let me bring in Jay. I know you're also birthday today, and you've got, I think, nephew and niece with you. Eddie, look, from the first half, you were a team transformed, and man of the match, Andy Waterworth, was saying at half-time, you said, look lads, I can take 60s off, go out there, show a bit of character. They certainly did.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could say one thing, Mark, first, my young granddaughter was supposed to bring me out today, walk out with me today, fell ill last night, and I couldn't come to the game today. Katie, that's for you, it's coming home.
You did it for little Katie. These boys did it for you, Eddie. And I want to go back to that initial question I had. What transformed them? Because you were up against the outstanding team of the season.
Well, we know what these boys are capable of football-wise. And I'm talking about the Glentoran side. We didn't give a good account of ourselves the first half. Fits and starts we did. Second half, we hit home with a few home truths. We told the boys that just wasn't good enough. And if they want to let this game pass them by, after all the work they've done all throughout the season, and for what they've been through the course of the season, not being paid and things like that, it would be a shame. And they rolled their sleeves up, pulled the socks up, worked their butts off, and what a performance the second half. Not only the second half, but extra time as well. Tremendous fitness levels, some tremendous football, and it could have been more. And you know, we're just glad to get our hands on that trophy again.
Your first one, Eddie. We appreciate you joining us. We're having a slight technical problem with the microphone. Enjoy your moment. Congratulations.
Well, there's the Challenge Cup which will be presented to Glentoran very, very shortly. And Stephen, on their second half, on their extra time performance, worthy winners today.
Oh, very much so. It's credit to Eddie and his backroom staff and how they've lifted the whole squad, because that's been a very difficult situation running there from Christmas, and to keep the players in the mental shape that they're in, to go out and give a performance like they did in the second half and then in the extra time. They've run out worthy winners here today, and hats off to them. But Cliftonville, you know, have been the team of the season, and sometimes that can you can just run out of this team because they partied last weekend when they won this championship. They've been the outstanding team of the year. It's just come up a little bit short, and that can oftentimes happen when you win a big league championship.
Yeah, still double trophy winners this season. Cliftonville, league champions, of course, for the first time in 15 years, and they won the League Cup as well. But the Irish Cup was a step too far. It is the losers' medals today for Cliftonville. Let's rejoin Marc. Well, Gerard Lawler, the chairman of Cliftonville, helping hand out the trophies there. I saw him on the pitch a little earlier there, Michael, and he was trying to get his players to their feet and say, look, you've lost today, but you've still had a fantastic season.
Yeah, they're immensely disappointed. You see that in some of the reactions. By Johnston in particular, you can see very disappointed as well. But they've had a magnificent season, and this is still a young team. You know, they've got lots of big games ahead of them, lots of championships ahead of them, and they'll learn from today's experience. There's no doubt about that. And as I say, you know, on the day they just came up short, and we have to give credit to the Glentoran lads now going up to get their medal. And again, for a lot of these lads, it's maybe their first medal, so they'll be hoping that, you know, it's a turnaround in fortunes at their club as well.
There's a sight all Glentoran fans will love to see at Windsor Park. The Glentoran flag proudly flying in the middle of the Windsor Park pitch. But let's rejoin Jackie for the Irish Cup presentation.
Always a big moment, Stephen. Jason Hill there going through. McAlorum, his first final as well. David Howland, who played so well, number 8, getting his medal. There we are, Jim Shaw, IFA president. Richard Clarke going through. Bradley going through, an unused substitute. Gibson, an unused substitute. Callacher got that wonderful headed goal in his first final. And there's Tommy Breslin giving good grace as those men take photographs for posterity. It's hard to believe that Glentoran, well, there's Colin Nixon now. I must say it's 9 years since the trophy has rested in East Belfast. Colin Nixon is the captain, the club captain, in his very last game, 794th, as they get ready with the champagne. And I think Nixon will be lifting the cup with the birthday boy, 32 today, Elliot Morris, the goalkeeper. There it is. Accept the plaudits. All the kudos go to Glentoran. It all started in 1881. 133 years ago, but the excitement never dims. Andy Waterworth, 2 goals. Nixon, a 6th winner's medal for the 34-year-old. And he will get a nice send-off with that cup from the Glentoran fans. They will appreciate all the service that he has given over the years. Chris, just let me bring you in briefly. Great scenes, great time for any player.
Absolutely, Jackie, and it's really, I think it's really nice for Colin Nixon the way he's finishing with the club, and he couldn't pick a better way to go out because he's got his hands on the Irish Cup. It's been a long time since Glentoran have won it, and this will be a proud moment for him. You know, it's a nice way to finish his career. But the rest of the players, they're obviously going to enjoy it as well, and there's no better feeling than winning an Irish Cup. I mean, it's a fantastic day, and when you finally get your hands on the trophy, there's no better day in the Irish League calendar.
Well, I believe we can hear from Colin Nixon, the great man himself. He's with Marc.
Just posing down for photographs at the minute, Jackie. Colin Nixon said he'd come back. He's as good as his word. He's trying to get his little boy and little girl over. Colin, they will be brought to you. Don't worry, we'll get them on the telly. I think 65 cup games. Here they come. Introduce them.
This is Max, 7, and this is Rocco, 4.
Boys, you must be proud of this man today. And what's all that paint on your face? The colours of Glentoran. Colin, what a way to exit. 794th appearance, and I suspect a 6th winner's medal, and this is the sweetest of them all.
Yeah, it's very, very sweet. It's a nice day, and once again to hear the crowd sing my name, it's fantastic. I think we were 3-1 up there in Jason Hill. I seen him going down, and I just leapt off the bench. I wasn't even sure if it was supposed to come on, but I just wanted to savour 5 minutes, just playing for Glentoran in Irish Cup final. It's a brilliant tradition we have in the Irish Cup, and you know, I thought we would come back into it today. I had a good feeling all day, and I'm just delighted we won it.
Inevitably, invariably, this game does drama like no other. And at 1-1, Marty Donnelly shoots. Elliot Morris, the man taking over the captaincy today, pulls up one of those great saves. At that moment, did you think possibly we have it?
Yeah, I did, because Elliot's been doing that all season. It was an absolutely world-class save from the angle I saw it in the dugout. And you think, yeah, your luck's going to turn. Did I expect to go 3-1 up? And to be honest with you, probably coast through the second period extra time, no, but delighted that we did. And I'm just glad, and I'm signing off. Glentoran's back on top where it belongs.
Would you say this has been the most difficult year of your career, acting as spokesperson for the players, all of the well-documented financial difficulties?
Well, I'm not going to talk about that now on such a proud day, but it's the most difficult day for me because I'm going and my time's up, and that's difficult for me. The rest, I wouldn't trade for a minute. I would have done anything for this club, stood up and be counted, and I'm just glad I'm going home with the winner's medal today.
You're going, and Andy Waterworth tells us he doesn't know whether he's going and whether he's staying, but I had a sneaky word with Eddie Patterson during the presentation there, and he says the Glens will be doing everything to keep Andy Waterworth at the club. They will be having talks with him next week. What might you say to convince him as you exit?
I mean, he only has to listen to the crowd today. He only has to listen to what they think of him. They think he's a superstar, but Andy's got to make up his own mind. It's not fair to put pressure on him. He's had a fantastic season for us, and he won our Player of the Year, and rightly so. And I just wish him good luck in the future wherever he goes.
Are you aware that this is an historic day for you? You're aware of the sense of history?
Yeah, I'm very aware. I think last week probably I thought would have been my swan song, coming on scoring a goal, but this week I'm lucky enough to get the last 5 or 10 minutes, soak up the atmosphere, and intend to have a good night tonight with all the boys.
The word legend is often overused, Colin, but I think you've inherited it, and rightly so. Congratulations, and back to the studio.
Well, bittersweet for Colin Nixon, of course, who wants to stay at the club, but this is last game for Glentoran. Here's how they won the Irish Cup this afternoon. Glentoran were trailing by 1-0 at half-time, but they came out of the blocks, Stephen and Michael, in the second half, and step up Andy Waterworth.
Well, yeah, you know, this goal that we see here, it was just wonderfully worked. It comes into the back post, and that's the second goal we're saying, but you know, they just came at them in droves and forced the good chances that they got, and they may have scored 2 or 3 more goals as the game progressed. So well done to them. You know, they're very worthy winners here today, and it's good to see people like Colin Nixon, you know, being applauded by his fans. You know, and let's give some credit to the Glentoran fans. They've come here in huge numbers. You know, they felt like their club's been torn away from them, and yet they come out and sing their hearts out. It'll be wonderful to see that sort of number week in and week out, bringing this club, great club, back to the standard it should be, because they're a wonderful club.
And finally, last word to you, Michael. Credit to Colin Nixon, a former teammate of yours, to bow out like this today.
Yeah, delighted for Nicky, to be fair. He's a really good lad. You know, he won a lot in his Glentoran career. He's been, you know, I know what the club means to him, and I know he'll be hurting, you know, to leave the club, but he's left in the right way. I don't think anyone at Glentoran would have a bad word to say about Colin Nixon, not only for his performances on the field, but as an individual as well, and what the type of character he is. And it's fitting that he should go out this way, and you know, rightfully, you know, in a day when Glentoran deserved to win the cup. Okay,
Michael, Stephen, thank you for your company this afternoon. The next live sport we have for you here on BBC Two is next Friday evening, and that's some Ulster Rugby Live. Ulster take on the Scarlets in the semi-finals of the Pro 12. What a game in store. Join us at Ravenhill from 7:30. But this afternoon, Glentoran are the Irish Cup champions, and believe me, if you want a party this evening, East Belfast is certainly the place to be tonight. From all of us here at Windsor Park, it's bye-bye.